So
Yeah, there's lots of model disagreements for sure.
yeah,
It's like 50-50.
Let's see if this works.
Go ahead.
You're lagging out.
What
I know
the?
that's a soundboard. Please stop, or you will be kicked out.
It's not a soundboard.
oh my fuck.
It's not a soundboard, don't worry. I try my best not to.
Alright.
You just reached 1,000 subscribers.
Okay. I'm gonna discuss what's going on with the latest National Hurricane Center advisory now that we are live. It is currently, at least officially, 145 miles per hour. Recon does suggest it is a little bit weaker than that at this point. Roughly around, you could argue 130 to 140 miles per hour. Still is a very dangerous Category 4 no matter what. Hurricane warnings are in effect for Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and now parts of the Yucatan Peninsula, down to Belize. Hurricane watch is in effect for, I believe, Belize City, and just north of the Yucatan, and then tropical storm watches extend further down into Belize and further across the Yucatan Peninsula, with also a tropical storm warning in effect for southern Haiti, which should expire pretty soon. They should almost be in the outer bands of it at this point. Anyways, time to read the discussion. This is as of 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Westerly shear is having an effect on Beryl this morning, as the eye has all but disappeared in satellite imagery, and the cloud pattern has become ragged and elongated from southwest to northeast. Reports from NOAA and Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicate that the central pressure has risen to near 954 millibars. However, the Air Force plane measured flight level winds of 139 knots at 700 millibars, while the NOAA plane measured 138 knots at 750 millibars. These winds support surface winds of 120 to 125 knots, and based on this, the initial intensity is set at 125 knots. The initial motion is now 285 degrees at 16 knots. A strong mid-level ridge centered over the southeastern United States is expected to continue steering Beryl generally west-northwestward at a decreasing speed for the next couple of days or so. The motion should bring the center near or just south of Jamaica during the next 6 to 12 hours and south of the Cayman Islands tonight. After that, the system should reach the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico in 36 to 48 hours and emerge over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico in 36 to 48 hours and emerge over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico by 60 hours. Once over the Gulf, there remains a sizable amount of spread in the track guidance, with the GFS and HWRF showing a more northerly motion towards the Texas coast, while the Euro and UK Met show a more westerly motions towards the coast of Mexico. This part of the track forecast lies near the consensus models in the middle of the guidance envelope, and overall there are no significant changes to the forecast with the previous advisory. While there is some disagreement in how much shear we'll encounter before reaching Yucatan, the intensity guidance expects enough shear that it agrees on steady weakening. The official forecast follows this and is at the high end of the guidance envelope. Beryl should weaken more while over the Yucatan and then slowly re-intensify over the Gulf of Mexico in a somewhat more favorable environment. The intensity forecast again calls for the cyclone to regain hurricane strength before it reaches the western Gulf Coast, followed by weakening after landfall. So, as you can imagine, there is a lot of shear impacting Beryl right now, so thankfully it's a lot weaker than what was expected. There isn't really a visible eye that you can see, at least on infrared, on satellite at least. You can tell by looking at radar imagery that there is still an eye in there. The northeastern side of the Eyewall is the strongest, and it is actually missing. Even though microwave imagery shows that it is missing a southern core. So yeah, the northeastern side, you'll notice all these lightning strikes showing that the storm is still powerful. Once these lightning strikes go away, that means the core is collapsing. So it is very solid right now, at least on the northern side. which that northern side is going to impact Jamaica pretty soon. How long do you guys think it will take?
Like on the southern coast, it's probably going to take like about an hour.
Probably
or
within the
two.
next few hours.
Very soon.
Yep.
I already have
Probably
rain bands.
2 hours.
Yep, they're getting
And
some of the
Jamaica.
outer bands from it right now.
Yeah, so the outer bands, they should get appreciably sheared since Beryl is staying just south of Jamaica. I think the shearing from the outer bands not directly impacting the eyewall is probably going to make the entire hurricane very asymmetrical, and so it's going to put a huge dent in the structure of the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure if this hurricane can really survive. I know it can survive this, but it's going to be initially pretty weak after Jamaica.
Yeah.
Although I still am confident that it could make a strong landfall in the Yucatan.
Yes.
Given how the hurricane structure, I mean, I'm looking at the hurricane structure right now from Tropical Tidbits. It is kind of asymmetrical. You can notice that the northern convection is more lopsided compared to the southern convection, and then you have
Yep.
all that garbage at the backside as well.
Yeah.
And that's one thing to note about this hurricane. It's just super asymmetrical right now.
And you got
Yet
even some
again.
banding approaching Haiti still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Along with
that's another
thunderstorms.
thing too. There's still the outer bands are still impacting Haiti, while tropical storm impacts are likely to end very soon and within the next hour or two. You're still gonna have these outer bands that are getting sheared out, causing tornadoes on land and such.
Yeah.
That's the one thing right now. If there's anything that's ongoing and anything that should be a concern of this hurricane, I don't. It should be storm surge, flooding, especially over Haiti since it's kind of stalled over there with
Yep.
its outer bands for a bit, and tornadoes. Anything. So, really, at this time, that's what I'm looking at.
Let's
I
actually
don't
talk about those threats.
I don't
They are listed on the
necessarily
National
care.
Hurricane Center website.
I don't necessarily care about the sustained winds right now.
Yeah.
They should become more of an issue by about 2 hours from now,
Yep.
given the path of the hurricane. Because where the hurricane is, the northern side has the strongest winds, and so if it's traveling just south of Jamaica, if I take a look at the map of Jamaica really quickly, apologies. Kingston is on the southern side of the island. I think that areas like Old Harbor, Hellshire, Treasure Beach, Alligator Pond, Santa Cruz, Mandeville, and some other areas that line the coast over here could receive possibly some very dangerous wind gusts here,
Mm-hmm.
given the next 1 to 2 hours. Because currently, sustained gusts are about, say, 140 knots. And if that's the case, if that's
That'd be
what your
Category 5
sustained winds
gust.
are, then you're not. Then 150 knots is probably your gusting wind. You're probably gonna have 170 mile per hour gusts
Yep.
impacting regions, especially in Kingston.
Kingston's
Is
right on the worst side of it.
yeah, and I think they're starting to feel the effects of the convection right now. So really, Kingston isn't the best built area ever in the world either. A
Yeah.
lot of the buildings here, they're brick, they're nice buildings, but you have to keep in mind that Jamaica's a coastal country. That means that all of their stuff depends on what they have in their country, being their tropical exports, as well as what they have around the ocean that it can use. Right?
Yeah.
And so, given that, they're not really necessarily the richest country in the world, and so
Exactly.
they afford the best infrastructure. So, a lot of these buildings in Jamaica that you'll find will most likely sustain major damage in Kingston. And I hate to say that, but given how horribly built Kingston is on its own, to some extent, you kind of see what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given the current here, I'm gonna
Here,
take
I'm gonna
a look
read
at
the impacts that are actually expected out of it from the National Hurricane Center.
Um.
at our long wave IR really quickly.
All right,
Just
so
The
wind.
damage.
Hurricane conditions are expected to reach the coast of Jamaica within the warning area in the next few hours. Tropical storm conditions are spreading across Jamaica at this time, making outside preparations difficult or dangerous. That means you should be hunkered down at this point. Wind speeds atop and on windward sides of hills and mountains are often up to 30% stronger than the near surface winds indicated in this advisory. And some elevated locations could be even greater. And Jamaica is very mountainous, so that's why up, especially in this kind of region right over here, on the eastern part of the island, there could be a lot of stronger winds than what are shown in the 145 miles an hour. It could be stronger on those mountains. The hurricane conditions are expected to reach the Cayman Islands tonight or early Thursday. Winds are expected to first reach tropical storm strength late this afternoon, making outside preparations difficult or dangerous. And then we're going to get hurricane conditions in the Yucatan Peninsula warning area Thursday night or early Friday morning. And then winds are expected, of course, to reach tropical storm conditions late Thursday. And then, hurricane conditions possible along the watch area. All right, storm surge. Storm surge is expected to be around 6 to 9 feet in Jamaica, especially wherever the Eyewall is touching land. So maybe along this kind of coastline of southeastern Jamaica, especially Kingston as well. Those are going to be the most vulnerable areas. Storm surge could be as much as 2 to 4 feet on the Cayman Islands. So a lot less, but those islands are a lot smaller, so they could be a lot more impacted by that storm surge. And then 1 to 3 feet are expected along Hispaniola, still. 1 to 3 feet, and it should just be lowering from here on out. They're getting out of the wind field, so storm surge should be lowering. And then a storm surge of 3 to 5 feet is expected along the Yucatan Peninsula, depending on where the storm strikes. And then also we have rainfall totals. I'll pull those up. We've just gotten this recently. There's a southeastern Jamaica, including Kingston, could get over a foot of rain in some local spots. Parts of southwestern Haiti, their rainfall totals are going to be lowering, but in total, since around 8 a.m., they should be getting 8 plus inches locally in some spots. And then the Cayman Islands could get over 8 inches in some localized spots. And then the Yucatan Peninsula could get up to 10 inches plus locally. It's a lot of rainfall.
I would like to say Jamaica is under a state of emergency, and there's curfews in place.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyone on Jamaica should be hunkered down at this point. Conditions are just going to continue to deteriorate. Here's a look at radar imagery over the past hour.
The damage photos from the Windward Islands are pretty impressive.
Alright. See. Okay, that's AccuWeather. I can't show it on stream.
Oh,
Anything else I could say about
But here's some live cameras from Jamaica right now. This is the Royal Jamaica Yacht Club. Not a lot going on here. Here, I'm going to pull up the webcam map. That looks to be on the northern side of the island. Is that right? No, never mind. That's the southern side. That area would get hit pretty bad, looks like. Let's take a look
if
at
I
Kingston
could say the
Harbor.
areas that are gonna get hit worse by this hurricane, as in the areas that are probably gonna be the closest to the eye wall, are probably going to be areas near the Portland Cottage Peninsula, if
Mm-hmm.
that's what you can call it. Areas, I'm just naming out all names here. Gimme Bit, Hayes, Race Course, Water Lane, Salt River, Mitchelltown, Leontown, Alley. There's also Rocky Point here with the Salt Savannah, Portland College, Maho Islands down here, Barneswell Beach, Portland Point, Shears Heights, Jackson Bay Beach, Longwood, Banks. You also got,
Oh, dang it. Okay. Alright.
I think, Sedge Pond and Milk River, Spring Plain, all these areas here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't be too surprised. But that's where the worst of the wind impacts are to be expected.
Here, I'll pull up the latest cone right now on here, just showing where the winds are likely at. This light bluish color are tropical storm force winds, 40 miles an hour. Just a very heavy breeze. That's pretty much what that is. Very strong winds to knock like palm fronds off. And then the solid green color are going to be the damaging winds, likely going to cause power outages, basically wherever that goes through. And then we have the hurricane force winds, which are going to be the most damaging, knocking off roofs, knocking down trees, a lot of damage in that one. You can see on the far eastern side, they're already getting the damaging tropical storm force winds. And then I'm going to extrapolate where the storm is going to be going and what areas are going to get what wind field out of it, just to try and see what areas could get hurricane force winds. I do believe Kingston is likely going to get hurricane force winds, it seems like. Alright, here we go. And Kingston would likely be on the outer side of the hurricane force winds. Definitely the damaging winds. Damaging winds should be throughout the entire island of Jamaica. And then, of course, tropical storm islands are basically a guarantee at this point that they're going to get it. Yeah, mainly hurricane force winds are going to be occurring on the southern half of the island, most likely. But damaging winds are still likely going to occur throughout the entire island. So power outages throughout the entire island are likely at this point. Some areas may get more than others. Some areas might not get power outages. Yeah, the chances of tropical storm force winds at this point for Jamaica are basically certain right now. The probability of damaging winds, as you can see, the farther south you are, the less likely you are to get damaging winds. But it still seems likely that the entire island will get it. Then chances for hurricane force winds, same thing. The more likely you are, you're more likely to get it the further south you are. Kingston's in like a 50% chance. And then this area right here, Blunters, is in like a 70% chance of hurricane force winds. Let's talk about this a little bit further. The Cayman Islands are the southern Cayman Islands is in a 90% chance, and then the eastern one is in a 70 to 80% chance. The Yucatan Peninsula, Cozumel is in a roughly 80% chance. Cancun is in a roughly 40% chance of tropical storm force winds. Belize City, they're roughly in a 10% chance. They should hopefully miss this, just by how far south they are. And then if we go further towards Texas, we can see some areas like Corpus Christi is in a 5% chance, Brownsville is in a 10 to 20% chance. Those probabilities are going to continue to increase as we go on further throughout the week, into the weekend and early next week. And then if we go over to, actually let's pull up the arrival times of tropical storm force winds. The most likely arrival time of tropical storm force winds, of course, the western part of the island should be getting it within the next couple hours, if it's not already occurring now. Should be by 2 p.m.-ish. Today, more of the island should be getting it. The Cayman Islands should be getting it overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning around the midnight hours. And then the Yucatan Peninsula should be getting it overnight Thursday. That will likely be our next stream-ish, Friday morning-ish. And then over into the Texas area, it looks like Sunday, early Sunday, they'll could get tropical storm force winds. Alright, let's now show the damaging wind probabilities. So as I showed before, Jamaica, very likely to get it. The Cayman Islands, in the northern one, is around 5 to 20%. And then the southern Cayman Islands is around a 50% chance. That's why they are under the hurricane warning. A very high chance of damaging winds. And then the Yucatan Peninsula, Of course, it's around a 40% chance, 30 to 40% chance. Cancun, thankfully, is only in a 5% chance. Cozumel is around a 30% chance. And then Belize City is mostly out of it. Of course, chances are going to increase as you go into the Gulf of Mexico once again. Thankfully, it seems like it's under 5% for any land areas. And then the chances of hurricane force winds. It seems like the northern island is going to be very unlikely out of the Cayman Islands to get it. But the southern island still has roughly a 20% chance. That's a 1 in 5 chance that they're going to receive hurricane force winds, which is pretty high, given on how far out it is. And then, of course, the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula are roughly at a 10% chance. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't have really any thoughts on
Yeah.
that. It seems pretty correct, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, anywhere in that cone is able to get like hurricane force winds. Anywhere in the hurricane warning, they're expected to get hurricane force winds within the next 36 hours. And then the pink areas are hurricane watches within 48 hours. And then, of course, the yellow is going to be tropical storm conditions within 48 hours are possible.
Um,
Anyways, you can see the northern side of the Eyewall is continuing to be the strongest side right now. Thankfully, we have radar so we can see which areas are getting the heaviest rainfall. You can see this huge outer band right over here just impacting the Kingston area. This is what's likely bringing the tropical storm force winds, the damaging winds out of the storm right now. Are mainly confined to this area, and then the hurricane force winds are likely just in this area. Would you agree on that?
Yes, I
Yeah.
perfectly agree. If more than anything, maybe here, draw this out again.
All right, here, let me draw that. This is
If I had
roughly
to take,
the damaging
if I had to
winds-ish.
take a guess, giving how asymmetrical, it's not really super asymmetrical. I think the hurricane force winds are actually extending just a little bit more on the northern side.
Yeah,
So like,
it should be confined within the eye wall, though.
if it's probably like this, and you have your eye right here,
Yeah, eyes right over here.
eye with like 140-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah, the
Then your
140 mile an
hurricane
hour wind
force
should be
wind.
right here in this little area.
Then, assuming how the eye is, let me just take a screenshot.
This is roughly where the eye is going to be going.
So you have the worst impacts here, and then you have the hurricane force winds. I'd say like that most likely is where your hurricane force winds are because of the asymmetry of the system.
All right,
Probably
here, I'm
most
going to pull
likely.
this up on stream. Yeah, that should be kind of roughly where the hurricane force winds are. If I pull up the map again, yep, pretty similar there. Let's take a look at the
Just
island right
around that
now
area. So,
of Jamaica. Of course, still getting light rain at this point. Not a lot of wind. You can't see a lot of wind right now, thankfully. But of course, this is just only going to increase. They're only really getting tropical storm force winds. They're not in the damaging winds just yet.
I would also like to say the people on the Union Island,
Yeah, Union Island.
almost every resident of Union Island is either their homes destroyed or partially destroyed or homeless
hmm
because of the high winds.
Also, talking about that, we also have a tropical wave that's located right over here, Invest 96L, roughly right here. The tropical wave of it's delivering some heavy rainfall amounts over the islands that have recently gotten hits from Hurricane Beryl. You can see the amount of rain they're getting now from it. This is going to cause damage to homes with their roofs torn off, so the mold possibly in the houses. Really bad situation there.
Probably. With that being said, due to how the hurricane force wind gusts impacted Caracas and Grenada, I wouldn't be super surprised to see there's probably a lot of buildings that have been demolished in these areas,
Yep.
especially on the coast. If we receive more heavy rainfall, this is going to bring potentially more catastrophic flooding. Because remember, Grenada and Caracas, you've already had a lot of rainfall from Hurricane Beryl's first initial landfall, I
Yep.
believe on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so, from that initial landfall on Monday, if you get more rainfall stacked onto the rainfall that you already received from a pretty devastating hurricane, you know,
hmm
that. So, that's why I'm just a bit concerned right now. I think everything will ultimately be fine at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, this is still going to be more flooding for Grenada and Caracas.
Hopefully it passes
And
quickly.
yeah,
They should have quite a bit of a break until they get to the next tropical wave, located all the way
mhm.
over here. So they should have a several day break in between the two. Yeah, you can see how close these two systems are to one another. Thankfully, this never became a tropical system like it was forecasted to do beforehand, given like a 70% chance of developing into Debbie before hitting the islands. Thankfully, it never got to that point, but it is still a heavy
Uh,
rainfall maker. Yep, what's up?
the HMS Trent, it's a British warship that would probably arrive in Jamaica and let's see, do like assist and help Jamaica and all those countries within the affected areas tonight.
That's good. Yep.
Yeah, let me see.
You can see the
And
eye.
Puerto Rico.
Yep.
It arrived in Puerto Rico yesterday, so it's probably gonna go to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands
I
either
think
tonight
Haiti and
or
Dominican Republic, possibly. First and then towards Jamaica. Alright, please stop.
most likely.
Yep, okay. So yeah, I wanted to say that the eye is I mean you're able to see the eye right over here, just south of all this new convection. Like Kurt was saying earlier, how it's asymmetrical. It's more on the northern side than on the southern side,
Yeah. The
which is
northern
really
side,
unfortunate for the island of Jamaica.
yeah, given how the hurricane is positioned too,
Yes.
um, probably gonna get hit by some very heavy rainfall. Given where this northern favor is, because you have this hurricane that's asymmetrical, you currently have ongoing convection bursts on the northern side of the eyewall and on the northern side of the hurricane. It's gonna help aid further to, you know,
hmm I'd like to show
contribute to more
why
rainfall
it's been
and
weakening
whatnot.
so far. I'll pull this up on the stream here. So here's where the storm is located right now, roughly in this area. We've got warm sea surface temperatures of like 29 degrees Celsius, so that's more than favorable for the storm. Got a lot of
The issue
moisture
with
in
the
it.
storm, uh, the issue with Beryl right now, though, is that it's getting sheared not only by Jamaica with its outer bands, but additionally, it's been feeling the impacts of westerly shear now. While it was resisting it before, the westerly shear, with how it's moving southwest
hmm
into the hurricane, unlike the northeast shear that we saw, which didn't impact Beryl at all because of how big Beryl was,
Yeah.
southwestern shear is going to start to take apart the hurricane when you have about 20-ish knots of it.
But
You have to
especially
keep
now
in
that the
mind that
system's falling apart, it's a lot more vulnerable to it.
yeah. You do have to keep in mind the hurricanes are very
It continues, sorry.
thank you. Oh my fucking
Yep,
god.
sorry about that.
Sorry, not well, you have to keep in mind hurricanes are very delicate rain and wind backs. hurricanes don't like the effects of shear. They like all of their winds to stay symmetrical with height. And so when you get shear and you displace your winds and your convection at different heights,
Yep.
moving all at different speeds and whatnot, you're going to get this hurricane that's very disorganized. It's going to be very asymmetrical. It's not going to be very healthy. It can't sustain its eyewall properly. And so, with the effects of shear ongoing with Beryl, we're starting to see some of those traits. We're starting to see it's trying to go asymmetrical. The eyewall isn't as visible as it was before. You can still tell where the vortex is of the hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not distinctive by an eyewall anymore. I mean, it's not there, you know? And
Yep.
so, with that being said, that's the main issue with Beryl. Now, do I think that Beryl is going to weaken any further, even if it's asymmetrical and nasty looking? It's just a really unhealthy looking. No, it's going to be slowly weakening. It's
Yeah.
going to take a big hit from Jamaica in these areas, but it's still going to be a strong hurricane as it makes landfall in the Yucatan. I have no doubt in that. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
Category 2 landfall
Conditions will
right
start
now.
to be more favorable by the time, like after it reaches the Cayman Islands. It will have a time of more favorable conditions.
Yeah,
It should be
and so
illustrated
that's
here. This pocket of lower wind shear should be starting to gradually move more southward.
yeah, due to the ridging, I'd
Yep.
assume. Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense then. The only nitpick I
Um,
really have now is if this hurricane can really sustain itself with a higher end hurricane status. Because here's the thing, it's about, I'd say 130, 140 miles per hour, or that's roughly about 115
Yeah.
to 120 knots. And with that being said, like it's
um,
most likely not going to remain a Category 4 and Category 3 for much longer, but it's still going to be pretty strong. That's all I got to
Yep.
say. Macklin, is there anything you'd like to say?
I, I'm gonna say that conditions are already deteriorating in Jamaica already.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have, um,
Yeah, they are.
Especially eastern
we do
Jamaica.
have increasing rainfall. We do have increasing tropical storm force gusts, about 45, 60, 70 miles per hour, sustained at least. Um, and with that being said, the impacts of Hurricane Beryl could be felt throughout the entire island with major power outages, flooding, tornadoes, possibly. Because keep in mind, a lot of people think that tropical tornadoes can be, they're like, whatever. Who
Exactly.
cares about it? Yeah, because most of the time they're weak, but some tropical tornadoes can be strong. They can be very strong tornadoes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so as long as the conditions are right for tornadoes, even if it's just a hurricane impacting an island and causing shearing of its outer bands and shearing inside of it too, in its core, CDO, like
Keep in mind, there's a lot of shear to help it.
yeah, there's a lot
Mhm.
of shear to help these outer bands get sheared properly enough so that way you can start getting rotation in the clouds. Because unlike hurricanes, tornadoes want shear for tornadoes because tornadoes spin with height.
Yep.
So as as hurricanes get sheared, the outer bands, which are just thunderstorms that are hooked to a central main vortex, these outer bands get sheared properly, and with the energy that the hurricane has with all these other components, including spin and the rich moisture that the environment has, because hurricanes are incredibly moist. You get these areas where you can see thunderstorms drop tornadoes. They may be
Yeah.
really quick tornadoes, but they're still dropping tornadoes on the ground left and right. And so it's kind of like a pulse thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could get significant tornadoes out of these too. I don't really see significant tornadoes on the table with this,
My
but
main
I
thing
will
though is
say
that it's
that
it's just one massive band. There's not really any supercells developing out of it.
I think that'll change as soon as we get more development on the northern side as the hurricane goes just due south of Jamaica.
Yep.
We're probably going to see some more convective bursts, and that'll probably help lead into the tornado threat. Keep in mind that tornadoes can also be embedded in hurricanes. It doesn't have to be the outer band as
Hmm.
well.
I
So,
did want to point out real quick though that this area is getting rain. It's just that it's mountains that it's looking like it's not. That area could be actually getting even more rainfall due to the fact it's a mountain.
yeah, keep in mind
Hmm.
what Chase means when he's saying this is that mountains, whenever you get rainfall in the mountains, let's say the Appalachian, for example, if anybody remembers the Eastern Kentucky flooding of 2022,
I do.
we had a massive flash flooding event impact regions like Hazard, Pikeville, Jackson, and that's because of the Appalachian Mountains serving as a catalyst for this. As rainfall drips into the mountains, it's able to meet with more rainfall, and it runs out. It runs out as like, a bunch of rain all at once. And
Yeah.
so as this run out, runoff continues throughout areas, travels down rivers, goes through streams and whatnot, it leads to localized flooding. And as this keeps continuing on and it keeps adding on with more and more rainfall that you receive, the more that runoff will gradually continue to increase and
Exactly.
potentially feed riverbanks and other things. And eventually
Yep.
you get a lot of rainfall in an area because of that. That's the issue. I wouldn't be surprised if Eastern Jamaica gets probably the worst of the rainfall, just
Yeah.
because there's mountain range here.
They're
I
expected to
wouldn't be
get
surprised.
upwards of a foot of rainfall in some
Maybe even
localized spots.
maybe even 18 inches.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
18 inches
surprised if that
isn't
was the case.
impossible with this.
Yeah, it's not impossible at all. I don't doubt it one bit, especially with how this hurricane has dumped a lot of rain on Grenada. How much rain do we know?
I do not know.
Here, wait. Let me see really quickly.
Like 8 to 10 inches, I think, somewhere around that.
The one webcam for Crossroads Kingstown is the power's out for that one.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
And Kingstown Harbor, Jamaica webcam is a very bad. Lots of rain and lots of wind. It seems like
Oh, I'm gonna
because
refresh it
the
then.
outer band is.
Yeah. Visibility's lowering. Let's see if there's anything else here. This is a beach cam. Okay, there's people walking around on the beach. They shouldn't really be doing that. If this is on the northern side, then wait, what the heck? That's not even what the no. That's not where I want. That's in the that's in the Netherlands. Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Okay. All right then.
But as you can see, there's currently heavy rainfall impacting the Kingston
Yeah.
cameras. If you could see that, um, that's probably just a rain droplet. That's probably why that side of the camera's blurry.
Let's hold on. So they
Um,
actually moved the camera around. Okay, interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
raindrop there.
most likely, if I had to take a guess. Um, I mean, I have no other comments about this hurricane, really. I mean, is there anything else we'd like to discuss about it?
Well,
In terms
probably
of
where the storm surge is going to be the worst. Because the National Hurricane Center is predicting
storm
6 to
surge.
9 feet of storm surge. And storm surge is always based off of where the winds are blowing. The storm, okay. It's kind of roughly here-ish right now.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to use Zoom
Um,
Earth for this.
So about the storm surge, I think the worst impacts of the storm surge are going to be near the Kingston area,
Yep.
most likely. And
Right now,
yet
the
again,
worst of the
the
storm surge is happening on the northern part of the island. Because the winds are blowing into there right now. Winds are
yeah,
currently blowing out of Kingston, at least for right
mhm.
now, out of the island. So storm
Well,
surge isn't really a factor just quite yet for the southern tip of the island.
but
But
for
as
the
we go
northern
in
tip of the island,
time,
if you're along Port Antonio, Anado Bay, Montego Bay, we got also areas like Lucia, Negril, Ocho Rios, these areas
Mm-hmm.
are probably experiencing very high storm surge right now.
No, not very high, I
It's
don't
not,
think. I'd say 1 to 3 feet.
well, probably like about 2 to 4 feet if I had to take a guess,
Yeah.
but still, that's still storm surge, and you should be taking precautions with that. And with this being said, as the hurricane continues,
Yeah, this is the
you
time where
should
it's going to
start
be
to
the worst,
see.
around 2 p.m.-ish. The storm surge blowing into Kingston.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of wind blowing into Kingston. This wind is going to be attributed to helping the eye wall sustain itself, even if it's very asymmetrical at this moment.
Yep.
Um, and these strong wind gusts should attribute, see about 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts here, should
Yeah.
attribute to major storm surge in the Kingston area as well as the peninsula, Morant Bay,
Yes, yep.
Alligator Pond as well, Maypen, even though it's inland. I don't even know why I said that.
Here's the wind gust right here,
But-
where you can see easily 60 miles an hour in a lot of the islands. And this is
And that's
underdoing
another
it, by
point.
the way.
Isn't
Well,
there any? Aren't there any areas in which are there any islands in this area of inflow, by the way, other than Jamaica? Like, can you like scroll, like zoom in for a second?
Zoom out.
Yeah, zoom out. Now zoom in. I mean,
Sorry, up, zoom in.
near the Kingston area.
My bad, it's a
Yeah.
little bit lagging right now.
Hey, you're fine. These softwares expect you to have like a
What
good
harbor?
PC.
Might
All
get
right.
some good storm surge.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Morant Bay is probably going to experience the worst of the wind gusts based off of model
Yep.
guidance right now. And
Mhm.
that what's that little peninsula that just reaches under Kingston? Do you see that right there?
I can't zoom any further. I think it's Kingston Harbor. This
Yeah,
area.
Kingston Harbor right there too. Kingston Harbor should probably expect the worst of the storm surge as well, alongside Morant Bay,
Mm-hmm.
especially Port Royal. That is one thing. Port
Yeah.
Royal isn't an area where you can see that storm surge start to impact that area. Also, hi, crazy.
No crazy, hey. Can you explain what's
Storm
going on right
crazy.
now with the storm?
I just woke up, so I don't even know anything that's going on.
Alright. Still a category 4,
Storm
by
should
the
be-
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, this model, the Icon
Uh,
model, wants it to go a little bit more north. This would be the worst case scenario for the Kingston Island, showing gusts of around 140 miles per hour. That could impact
Sustained
the
wind.
area.
Sustained winds of
I
140
think the
miles per
Eyewall
hour.
is going
these
to
are
barely
gusts
miss
right here
Kingston.
shown.
Gusts?
Yep, these are gusts right here that I'm showing.
Wait.
This would be the
That
worst
should be
case
the
scenario
Uh,
for Kingston.
That should be the sustained winds.
Mhm.
Sustained
the
winds here right
gusts
now are a
from what
lot
I'm seeing
lower,
could be up
showing
to-
like 70, 60. But these sustained winds are underdone for the storm.
Yeah, the sustained winds are underdone. It's really
I think that the
closer to
wind
like
gusts for the
130.
Icon model here shows a good idea on what the wind gusts could, like the maximum kind of stuff that they could get out of the storm. Sustained winds are
I
140
think everything's
miles
going to
an
be
hour.
displaced a little south.
Yep, this
But
is the
that-
northernmost. This would be the worst case scenario that could happen for.
But most of the
Yeah, but it's not doing that.
Yep.
yeah, it's not gonna do that. It's gonna stay on its path. It's gonna go just south of Jamaica, but still heavy rainfall impacts and tropical storm winds, potentially hurricane force winds on that little peninsula
Hmm.
on the southern side of the island. Especially
Um,
rainfall totals near the mountains too. The mountains could potentially see the worst of the rainfall impacts. I wouldn't be surprised if there could be like a foot or maybe a foot and a half
Yeah,
of rainfall
rain.
there. So
A GFS here
That's
shows that around in 3 hours or so, it should be nearing a potential landfall. Models still want it to be on the northern side of the cone. But yeah, around this
be fair,
time,
there's
the storm surge will likely be the worst in the Kingston area and the bay
there's
just to
some
the south.
some very decent model agreement. Not with the northern trend, but more of just like the path that the NHC has put out.
Yep.
So I don't know. Icon and GFS are probably the outliers right now
Hmm.
for this because it shows a different, more catastrophic scenario. But given that fact, I mean, I have none more to say, really.
Here, let's take a look at the Cayman Islands. GFS here is having it on the northern track of the cone, which could
Oh yeah, I
happen.
also may.
It shows roughly on tomorrow at like 1 a.m. ish. That's going to be the worst for the northern island ish. It should be overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. It'll be the worst on the Cayman Island over there. And then early morning, it should be worst on, I don't know if that's Grand Cayman or what island that is, on the southwest. Then they could get the worst. The GFS is showing wind gusts of like 70, 80 miles per hour. I'm interested to see what the icon shows. They're showing it being a little bit delayed. Still, the storm could try and get its act together. It's unlikely. Maximum wind gusts, this would be like the worst case scenario of like 120 miles an hour on the island there. And then on the northern island, wind gusts of below hurricane force, around 65 miles per hour. That'd be if the storm goes on the northern track of the cone. Yeah, see, the icon model here wants the storm to go on the northern track. So like Cancun, the worst case
It has
scenario
for its
could be
entire
60
life.
mile. Yep. Could get 60 mile an hour wind gusts, 65 as the worst case scenario.
You're already seeing wind damage from in Jamaica already with the outer bands
Yep.
moving in.
Alright, Crazy, have you taken a look at the storm?
Yeah, I'm taking a look at some stuff. Not seeing anything too impressive yet.
What are your thoughts on it overall?
It's definitely weakening now.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I will say it's pretty. It's starting to become pretty asymmetrical too, given how it's looking right now.
I did want to say a new
The
band
amount
of
of shears.
thunderstorms are moving towards Cuba right now, this little
It's
area.
probably about 30 knots or so of under the outflow layer here, which is not gonna bode well for a system like this.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wind
and I
shear.
think the additional shearing from it moving over land on Jamaica, especially with its outer bands, are probably going to make it even more
Land
asymmetrical,
interaction. Yep, with Jamaica.
if I had to assume.
Yep. Alright, someone in chat has been saying they will be in it for 8 to 12 hours depending on moving speed. I believe they're talking about Jamaica. What do you all think? How long should it be impacting Jamaica?
I think for about 6 to 8 hours,
Mm-hmm.
maybe longer.
I would agree with that.
If there is one thing to state about this hurricane, like its eyewall is just, yeah, it's just all over the place, to be honest.
Yeah,
You
not
could
doing
still
too
tell-
well.
You can still tell there's a central vortex there, but the southern side of the eyewall structure is completely collapsed. So,
Mhm.
for the most part, I don't know how long this hurricane's going to sustain a higher end status, but it's still going to be strong. Either way, it's going to be slowly weakening, and then it should be able to re-strengthen near the Yucatan, make landfall there, and then re-strengthen in the Bay of Campeche before making landfall just south of Brownsville.
Yeah.
Yet again, as I mentioned. So, yeah. I will be
Yeah.
right back, guys. I gotta do
All right.
something.
Here's the new band of thunderstorms that are approaching Cuba at this point. Could be a gusty squall line, maybe contain tropical storm force gust in its. Alright, Crazy, are there any other features about the storm you want to talk about?
Not that much right now because it's heading further south, though. It's not going to weaken quite as much
Mm-hmm.
due to land interaction, but the shear will probably get to it anyway.
And then what are your thoughts about a Yucatan landfall? How strong do you think it will get?
Right now, the Yucatan landfall looks like probably, I don't know, most reasonable intensity is probably going to be like low in Cat 2.
Yep, that's roughly what the National Hurricane Center is forecasting.
Yeah.
And then where do you think it's going to go afterwards, since there's a large spread?
Those far northern solutions now don't look as reasonable, probably near the border. If I had to take a guess.
Alright,
Like near the cone. I think it's definitely tracked more towards that than anything.
like this, roughly. The middle line.
Yeah, it hasn't tracked to the northern side anymore.
Yep.
Because of the southward jog yesterday.
Still, it could track on this northern path, and it could track on the southern path. But it's most likely to follow the center, right here.
Yeah.
Aircraft recon doesn't look as impressive as like the last couple of days.
What's going on?
Aircraft.
Alright, there's another
Aircraft.
plane expected to leave in around an hour and 14 minutes for the storm. We actually have two planes in the storm right now, I think. No, we have one plane. Here's roughly how strong the winds are. They're showing hurricane force winds extending out quite a ways from the center. Here, I'm going to pull up another website that will show it. This is the website I like to show a lot. Tommerberg's website here. Oh, well, they extended the area of interest. I expected them to do that. 96L. It could even form in the Gulf of Mexico at this point, Bay of Campeche as well. But it's just too far out to tell right now. It's going to try and follow a similar path to Beryl, though. Yeah, here's a look at what model trends have been showing recently. The darker the red color, the more recent it is. So you can see initially they wanted it to try and curve towards Louisiana. Now it's been just curving more and more to the west.
That makes sense.
Yep, and then here's
Just because of roughly,
here's roughly the track that Ensembles want it to go. There's a
makes sense.
Yep, there's a 90% chance basically. It's basically 100 that it's going to go for the Yucatan Peninsula. And then of course it gets lower and lower. This is about a 50% chance of reaching Texas, at least being within 200 kilometers. And then I know that there's a lot of curvature over here. Like there's a 30% chance that it nears Arkansas. Even this would be, of course, a lot weaker of a system. This path could verify. What do you think about this, Crazy? Just doing it something like this? Sorry,
about 200, 300 miles for landfall pretty much be remnant low anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Do you think it could actually go up there towards New York as a very weak
as a
system?
remnant?
Yep.
As a remnant low.
Or something, yep. That it might not die over Texas, so it could curve. Yeah. This doesn't
96L, by the way, has
impacts.
development prospects again. 96L has development prospects again.
Alright, so I went 10% last time. I should have probably upped it.
I mean, no, it's not the same kind of development that we were seeing in the MDR. It failed its MDR attempt.
Yeah, I see that it might try and form in the Caribbean and potentially the Gulf of Mexico.
Looks like Bay of Campeche again.
Yeah. And there's that the D-ship model wants it to try and head towards Florida, which is kind of weird.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For the 894th time, it's going to form in the Bay of Campeche.
Yep. Alright, so let's see what else is there on here. I got Recon. I want to pull up Recon on Beryl if they have it here. Yeah, here's roughly, this should be kind of up to date, yeah. A rough idea on where the hurricane force winds are and where the strongest winds are. This is flight level, so it's a little bit lower actually on the surface. You can see tropical storm force winds are very lopsided with the storm. Right now they're extending about 100 miles away from the center to the southwest-ish, or 50 miles-ish.
I would say, Chase, given the latest data, this is probably 115 knots.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
Minimal cat
150 to
four at this
120
point.
knots.
But as you can see
It's
on this graph right here, it's likely only hurricane force winds that wrap around the center, or wrap around the eye wall. Cat 2 winds likely aren't on the southwest side at this point.
yeah. It really doesn't matter though, because the only thing that's going to impact Jamaica is going to be the northern
Yeah.
eyewall.
And we have the
Um,
damaging tropical storm force winds, which are likely roughly in this kind of area. Ish, I know it's not a good drawing. A circle here. Hurricane force winds are likely about to impact the coast. They kind of extend roughly this length. They're almost over land at this point, if not already occurring on land. And then Cat 2 winds are confined pretty close to the eye, which is expected. And then the Cat 4 winds would be on the northeastern side.
I don't know why that is. But it's-
Crazy, have you seen the radar images?
No.
Here it is.
Hold on, I gotta rejoin this real quick because it won't let me open up.
Alright. Let's see, did he join back? Yep.
Oh yeah, that makes sense for a sheared system.
Yep, the northeastern side is the strong, or northern side's the strongest. Right now, the southern side isn't really there. And what are your
It
thoughts
should go
about
to
the
show, though.
second eye wall?
Second eyewall, not gonna sure. They're not
Yep.
gonna do the same thing.
Alright.
But I do want to talk a bit about Beryl, and it is like a good lesson of like when you have a system that intensifies far earlier than forecast, it
Mhm.
always matters.
Yeah.
Like whether if it's a Cat 4 on day 1 or if it's a Cat 4 on day 3, like the time at which it becomes a strong hurricane and maintains it for is very, very, very important for how it'll probably handle environmental features down the line.
Yeah.
And it's a really good showing of that because the system has handled shear very well.
Yes.
Right.
Meanwhile, most of the forecasts, especially 2 to 3 days ago, had this dying because of shear.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it doesn't really make sense for the
Yeah.
system to die that fast, but, like...
It's a gradual de-intensification. It still
Yeah,
has a core
it's-
to it.
Yeah,
Once
it's not
that
going to
core
immediately
falls
erode
apart,
it.
then it can quickly weaken. Is that correct? If it doesn't really have a good core, it weakens faster.
Yeah, there's still
Yeah.
actually a bit stronger of shear in the Yucatan, which should kill the core.
Okay.
Or at least, maybe not kill the core, but it'll... After Jamaica, the core should finally collapse, and we should see a decent amount of weakening there.
What about in between the
To-
Cayman Islands and the Yucatan?
There, I don't see the same opportunity for strengthening that I saw a couple days ago.
Alright, okay.
I think it just kind of maintains,
Yeah.
but I mean, either way, not much of a difference. It's already going to be stronger heading there, so it's not going to be much different whether it strengthened up to that intensity or whether it had gotten to the intensity or just maintained it in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But one thing to note about this system is it's going to be carrying very, very, very high-end shear, or not shear, storm surge with it either way because it's maintained a strong hurricane intensity the whole time.
Yeah.
So
6 to 9 feet is expected on Jamaica.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little higher.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're pushing 10 feet. So
2 to 4 feet are expected on the Cayman Islands, 1 to 3 feet on
Yeah.
Haiti area, and then 3 to 5 feet on the Yucatan.
yeah, it seems about right. Otherwise, I just think I just think Jamaica is going to get like a bit more storm surge than forecast, simply because of the fact that this has already been ongoing as such a strong hurricane for a while.
So it has time
So
to
it's
build up
probably
the...
churned up the water a couple days ago so much. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah.
Still has a bit more punch than the typical hurricane of this intensity.
If the wave heights are about 10 meters, here I'm going to get that to feet, 33 feet.
Yeah.
Mm.
At this point, you can see it colliding at like 20 feet. This doesn't mean it's going to raise the land by 20 feet of water. It's just how high the waves are out to sea.
Yeah. Actually, if this didn't hit Jamaica, this would probably be, or not hit, but if it didn't get impacted by Jamaica, I think this core would actually sustain itself to the Yucatan a little better.
Yeah. Because right now it's the northern side that has the core to it, which I mean it's expected, but it's the northern side that's going to get shredded by Jamaica.
Yeah, so it's going to do a lot of damage to the system.
Yep.
And downsloping dry air and a bunch of other things will also hurt it, so.
Thankfully, it's likely not to make a direct landfall on the island. Right?
Yeah, I
That's a
mean,
good thing, I think.
what I don't think it's much that as Kingston is gonna probably be spared of the worst of it, which was my, if it hit the capital, that's a that's
Yeah.
a massive problem, and it's still a huge problem either way. So, I mean, it's not like it's any better. It's just it missed the capital city of Jamaica, but it's either way going to still impact a ton of people on the southwest side of the island.
Yeah.
So, my hope is that this has another southward jog and misses it entirely,
Yep.
because then Shear will shred it anyway. So, that's what my hope is.
Yeah.
But then again, because
Here's
I think
what's going
honestly,
on right
whether
now, in terms of the wind
whether-
field right now,
yeah,
the southeastern
Makes sense.
side is getting damaging winds kind of roughly right now.
whether it hits Jamaica now or
Hey,
if it
Chase.
stays to the
Yes.
south, I don't think it matters much.
There was a gust of what was it? Like 66-mile-an-hour winds on one of the mountains right outside of Kingston.
Okay, what are you seeing that with?
Wonder Weather Underground on
Okay.
Peters Rock.
I see wind gusts of 53 miles an hour on the northwestern side. I don't get why winds are showing 0 miles an hour in some areas and it's only 7, only 5 miles an hour in some areas. Likely way below what they're actually getting.
You know what I will say with the system, though,
Mhm.
is its northward outflow channel starting to close off,
Alright,
which is
so
why it's doing a little worse.
let me zoom in a little bit on it.
So, do you see what's going on with the northward outflow?
Oh, here, hold on, Here, I have it right here-ish. Actually, I can show it on satellite.
Go to
True
True
color.
Color.
Mm-hmm.
See how it's kind of outrunning it?
Yeah, kind of.
It's telling you it's not as efficient anymore
Mm-hmm.
in helping the system. So,
I'm seeing less outflow as well on here. It's faded out.
yeah. Yesterday, when we were noting it was doing really well against the Shear,
Mm-hmm.
it had a crazy northward outflow channel that was sustaining it, and now it's outrunning it, so it's not doing as good.
Yeah.
So that should continue to close off over the next 12 to 24 hours, and that'll probably significantly impact the system.
Yeah. That's a
So-
good thing, so it can help it weaken.
Yeah, before Yucatan. So either way, this is going to weaken significantly before Yucatan.
Yep. We will do
There's
another
kind of-
stream for the Yucatan whenever it hits, just because it's a hurricane landfall impacting the area. They have radar there, right? I see that there's radar, but
Yeah. It's going to be a really broad, messy hurricane when it gets there, probably.
Yep.
Very sheared. And then after
Monsoon.
Yucatan, the system is going to be... Yeah, after Yucatan, the system's going to be insanely monsoonal, so...
And then likely we'll do another stream whenever it hits. If it hits Mexico as a hurricane, we'll do a stream. If it hits Texas as a tropical storm or higher, then we'll do a stream. So it
I
is
think what
likely-
matters a lot What matters a lot for post, like Yucatan, is how the structure is already.
Yeah.
Because there's a very good chance off a lot of the hurricane models that it gets a pretty nasty busted structure that takes a long time to start strengthening again.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of the inner thunderstorms, it looks like
Looks like what? Oh shoot, my bad. Sorry about that. My Discord kind of lagged. I'm still on stream, guys. I am reloading Discord. Give me a moment. Discord's loading. Hello?
that takes a long time
Sorry.
to coalesce
Hold
or
on,
anything.
hold on. My thing crashed. Can you repeat, like, the last, however long, like, last 1 minute of thing you said? You said it depends on what the core looks like now.
I mean, I'm not sure. It's not now. It's what the core looks like after Yucatan.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like now.
They said something about hurricane models. Can you talk about that?
So, looking at a lot of the model guidance for, I like SimRes to kind of understand what's going on. Is
Where's that?
there is still some shear impacting it on simulated reflectivity,
Okay.
but there is still some shear that's going to be impacting the system post Yucatan. But the main problem is that I think the system is just going to be very broad. I think the inner structure of it is going to be pretty busted up.
Yep.
But if you go to like the HAFIS guidance and you look, I think the inner structure is
What are your thoughts
pretty
about
busted.
this right here, the NAM 3 kilometer or NAM 32? Because they
The
have
NAM
it going
32
just
kilometer,
south.
NAM 3 kilometer are the worst for the
Right.
tropical forecasting models I've ever used.
Yep.
It's also NAM is not really a really good model
Yeah, I know
for
that.
anything.
So here's why is the NAM. You know the issue with the GFS, why it forms, those really strong hurricanes later in its model runs?
Mhm.
It overdoes convective feedback and cyclogenesis.
Yeah.
The NAM does that to an even more extreme degree than the GFS does.
Yep.
So
I see what you're talking about with the 96L and the right here. It's kind of 96L, right? I know that this is a little bit over on what it should do. Oh. My Discord crashed again.
yes.
Alright, sorry about that. It crashed again here. I'm just going to share my screen very low resolution.
Here, join me. Okay, real quick.
Alright, I'm going to even lower the resolution even further. Alright, so I want to say that 96L I see right here. Showing it potentially forming in the Bay of Campeche.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
something I've note is we're getting a lot of these systems in the Bay of Campeche specifically.
Yeah.
But even though we're getting all these systems there, for the actual bulk of the season, they're not impacting really much.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they'll get us through named storms, and they'll also, remove some of the heat content and energy from the Gulf. And plus, they're impacting that area really badly. I mean, it's 3 or 4 tropical storms hitting the same area. That's not going to end pretty.
Yeah.
But the actual systems, they're not doing that much for impacting like heat content or anything like that.
Yep.
Well, no, they are, but
Mainly
they're not
sea
doing
surface
it outside
temperatures.
the area. Yeah.
Not the depth.
Alright, so we get back. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, they're just not in the right spot to do much to the season. Like Beryl, the issue with Beryl is yes, it's a high-end hurricane, but it's also moving quite quickly, and it's not a very large system, and it never has.
Mm-hmm.
It's not small, but it's not large. I would say it's a pretty moderately sized hurricane, like relatively speaking.
Beryl. right now.
Yeah. It was small when it formed, but it's definitely grown to at least be moderately sized for a
Yeah.
hurricane.
Kind of reminds me of Emily, if it had an eye together.
Well, Emily had a much different pattern for it. I think
Yeah.
that was a lot better for a more maintained, strong hurricane. But
And I'm just talking about the size of it.
yeah, I thought earlier in its life, Beryl looked a lot more like Felix,
Yeah.
but Felix and Andrew, but it didn't look as good as Felix because Felix was at least 160 knots.
Yep.
So that's something to consider. Like the intensity, the 175 mile an hour intensity of Felix is pretty badly underdone.
Yep.
It's 185 to 190 miles an hour.
Yes.
If
I
you
did
were to
want
go
to
back
point
and
out
look
here,
at
it
the
looks like
system,
one of the
but-
radars might have went downish. I'm noticing that
No.
some of the rain just froze here, which isn't good. I don't know what's going on there, but you can see one of the bands of rain trying to miss Cuba. Hopefully, just goes just to the south of it, funnels around the storm. Anyway, though, Crazy, do you think that this is kind of a second Eyewall right here?
Um,
I know
I
it's not going
mean-
to do anything, but
I don't know if it. I think that might just be core convection at this point. I don't know if that's a
Alright.
true second eyewall yet. It's important to watch and see if it starts to choke off the inner one, but like
yeah,
it, even if it starts choking off the inner one, unlike that other scenario earlier, it doesn't have a really forced outflow channel to help instantly complete it. Like I
Yeah.
think a lot of that yesterday was literally just because of really strong outflow.
yep,
So it doesn't quite have the same setup to actually complete another replacement cycle. But
Someone said, is the hurricane going to hit Texas anytime soon? Oops,
so
your thoughts
that's a
on that?
complex question.
Yep.
If you're talking about South Texas, far South Texas into Brownsville, then I think that area should be on pretty high alert.
Yep.
The further up the coast you are, the less likely an impact becomes.
Yes.
So I think if you're near Houston, I would be like kind of watching it, but I think if you're anywhere near that area, like there's pretty much no point. I mean, it'd be a very big anomaly if it were to come up there.
Yep.
And then through Port Lavaca in south, then I would be probably starting to prepare for
Kind of
early
like this,
tropical
would you say?
impacts.
There's lots of power outages in Jamaica
Yeah.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at
Power outages, yeah, that's going to be a huge problem with the system.
there's some in the Kingston Metro, it seems like, and just all around the island.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
That could explain why the radar was down.
that's the issue with these Caribbean islands is when they get hit by hurricanes, they don't just their infrastructure isn't as I guess well fortified, especially in the power outage. Like they don't that how do I say it? Like we have here whenever a hurricane hits and power's out, like it gets restored within a few weeks.
Yeah.
But down there, like they don't just have the same luxury as we do. So when all of the power goes out on the island, everything becomes exponentially harder. This won't quite do that, but either way, it'll be a lot of power outages that probably will take a little bit longer than it would anywhere else to be restored.
Yep. Kind of like Puerto Rico.
Not nearly to the same extent, but it's
Yeah.
important to note that just the resources on these islands are not as robust.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, do you think
I am
that
gonna
the
take a-
storm center will actually hit land?
Storm center will hit land.
Yep.
Mm.
I mean, I don't think
mean,
it'll hit
over
Jamaica,
Jamaica.
but I think obviously after that it will.
Mm-hmm. As I noticed now that there's only a very small part of the island that's actually in the forecast cone.
Uncertainty cone.
Yep.
Let's see, what's the
Yeah,
current
they'll-
resolution set it at?
Oh, I want to pull up how
11
far away it is
AM.
from land. And how long do you think it would take until it reaches its closest approach? It's like 60 miles away from land-ish. Around 100 miles away from where it could reach its closest approach. How long do you think until it will be like south of Alligator Pond, this area? Hello?
Alligator Pond. Oh,
This area right here.
like, I think if there's anywhere that is going to be impacted by the northern Eyewall, it'll be there. But
Mhm.
even the chances of that aren't too high.
Alright. Did the cone just update or what happened? Why'd the cone change? I'm confused. I don't know what just happened to it. Okay. Okay, now it just went back. Alright, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so you all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we can hear you.
Good. Everything's going smoothly, looks like. Just double checking. Anything new coming from flying planes into the hurricanes? Is there any more recon data?
They're still in storm, but
This one looks
It
like
is
it's
definitely
really-
weakening
Yep.
to a decent degree now.
They
It's
got
going to lose
950
Cat 4
6
status here pretty soon.
Yep.
So,
The next plane is departing in 48 minutes.
Alright.
good. So, recon with this storm compared to a lot of other Atlantic hurricanes has proven to be a very valuable asset. A lot of Atlantic hurricanes in general are like satellite can only get you so far.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because we would have thought that this was probably a Cat 2 if we didn't have.
I would have probably
Yeah,
thought
it's
like low in Cat 3
definitely
right now.
bigger than it
Yeah.
is.
But, storms a lot of times are under the hood hiding much stronger winds due to a lot of times when they're rooted to strong outflow channels like this one's been for a while, they are generally pretty strong. A good example, like a few good examples from last year, like Norma and Koinu, where both of those systems looked terrible on satellite. Like they don't even look like Cat 4s on satellite, but under the hood, they're much, much stronger
I
systems.
remembered seeing the radar on Koinu. That was
Yeah.
insane. Solid eyewall.
Yeah, but I mean, it just goes to show, like, you should never trust the facade that satellite puts on a system.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, it's not going to be completely accurate. Like,
Unless it's a fully cleared out eye on satellites. Then you can kind of tell. Like Bulavin.
yeah. Yeah, it's just sheared systems are sometimes so variable on how strong they really are.
Yep.
Yeah. So far, it's proven to be an insanely valuable asset. But
Yeah.
the one caveat is that SFMRs are completely... They're just not working. So...
Can you explain what that is exactly? SFMR?
So, it's basically a device that goes and lands and directly measures the wind speed.
Yeah.
And, all of the other like things going on in the hurricane. But the difference between it and like a sonde, for example, is it doesn't give you an atmospheric profile. So it just goes down and measures the speed of the wind. So
Yeah.
Maybe need a shower, so I'll go to the
okay. But yeah, so what's happened with the SFMRs is basically they will report, okay,
Mhm.
what they will be reporting is very strong wind speeds, sometimes even 30 plus miles per hour, stronger than the aircraft is reporting above the surface.
Oh wow, yeah.
Which, if you know anything about physics, that's not possible
Yep.
because of friction. So, where the aircraft is flying, typically you use a 0.9 conversion ratio to get what the actual wind speed is to the ground.
Yep.
That's usually what you'd use, or maybe somewhere around there. Sometimes you use a little higher, sometimes you use a little lower, depending on the situation. This storm you probably use a little bit lower, more like 0.85. But
Yeah.
with what SFMRs would probably show in the storm is it would probably show high in Cat 4 to Cat 5 intensity, which right now it's nowhere near that. And a lot of it would have to depend with rain rate too. It had issues with rain rate and shoaling impacting the data. So generally they've just kind of been ignored for the storm. Even the NHC themselves have been ignoring it the whole time for the storm.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, Sans and flight level winds are super valuable for this. And besides the point, I mean, whether it is measured to be a Cat 4 or not, it's a very impactful system.
Yep.
So yeah,
There's already a heavy rain in Kingstown Metro,
Oh yeah.
and there's already ponding and some minor flooding already happening and occurring.
Alright. Makes sense. You'd see the outer band. I mean, it's not really too much of an outer band. It's kind of the inner band of the storm right here. With the destructive winds. This is the main core with hurricane force winds right here. And of course is eventually gonna likely impact part of the island, wouldn't you agree? Hurricane force winds
Yeah.
on part of the island.
yeah, there'll be hurricane force winds across much of the southern part of the island for
Yep.
sure. So no matter what, it's going to be very impactful for the southern part of the island. Is it going to be as bad as I thought it was going to be yesterday night when it was deviating further north? Not quite,
Yeah.
but it's still going to be a very, very impactful system.
Yep.
I'm going to go head off here, guys. I got a shower and I'm going to head out to eat here pretty soon, but
Alright. Thank you.
Alright, peace.
see you guys.
Mhm. So it looks like that the Eyewall or the hurricane force winds are around 32 miles away from land, from finally reaching land. Maybe even shorter than that. I'm mainly talking about the Eyewall of the storm. It's moving at around 18 miles per hour. So within the next 2 hours, it should be partially over land. Would you all agree?
Yeah, I'd agree on that.
I would.
I'd say around 90 minutes-ish. So at around 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Alright. So, let's see. So the next advisory comes out in actually 90 minutes-ish. A little bit less. It comes out at 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. We should get an update from the National Hurricane Center on their intensity. See if there's any updates to watches and warnings. I feel like Haiti should be no longer in a tropical storm warning. They might keep it though, just because of the fact that they're getting some heavy rain from it, so there could be gusty tropical storm force winds. I feel like everything else should roughly stay the same in terms of hurricane warnings, watches, tropical storm watches. I don't think anything else is going to change. Maybe something from Campeche down a little bit more southward ish. I don't know.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
I don't think anything's gonna really change.
Yeah, Cayman Islands are good. They're on their max hurricane warnings. I don't think they're going to downgrade.
Hey, Chase.
Yep, what's up?
That one weather station that I sent you is getting pretty strong wind gusts.
Alright, I'm going to pull that up.
Frequently.
see.
43 mile an hour wind gust.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago there was a gust
Oh.
66, I think.
Let me pull that up. Where's it? Oh yeah, I see that. 66.2 mile an hour wind gusts. All right.
You remember that is on a hill, a rock.
Yeah, it is
mountain.
elevated.
Yeah, very elevated.
How high up is it?
I think I'm pretty sure. Let me check.
I don't think it shows. It'd be helpful if they added something that would show
It
the elevation.
is 900. Wait, not that. At 900 meters, I don't know what that is, and
Right, that's over 1,000 feet easily. That's probably between like 2,500 feet, maybe.
mhm.
So yeah, it's pretty elevated. But I mean, it's clear that they're getting tropical storm force winds
Yeah.
Yeah.
and probably damaging sustained winds. Here's the table. Oh, oops. Let me go all the way down to the bottom here. That's not showing here. All right, let me go back. Graph. There we go. So you can see that the temperature and dew points have been the same, so it's very saturated. Ooh, precipitation totals. This is helpful. 2.3 inches so far today. The rain
Yeah,
rate's
that
at
is.
around half an inch per hour, I think that is.
Yeah, sounds about right. Should increase soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, pressure 29.75 millibars. Wish I could change that unit. What about the other weather stations?
The ground ones are not too windy yet because they're not too high elevation yet.
What about
But that
precipitation totals, though?
the
And
ground
pressure.
ones, about yeah, they're the one in
Just 2
where is
millibars.
this?
Downtown Kingston Harbor, the webcam seeing almost zero, almost no visibility.
This one right here?
Can't even see.
Kingston Harbor? Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it. Oh, did it just end? What
You
happened?
barely see the buildings.
Looks
It's
like it
still
went down.
live on.
I
Oh,
don't know
never
if
mind.
it did or if it's just lag. Is the Kingston
Yo,
Harbor camera
Audie's
still working?
being, for me, it's lagging out.
Here, I'm just gonna pull this up
That's
on
fine.
YouTube.
Are you driving way less than you used to?
Alright, no
Do you have a
thanks.
clean driving
That's
record?
great.
Are you over 25? Do you not have a
Right.
DUI?
There we
The
go.
only webcam I see that's working is the
Alright, it is working, but yeah, visibility's very
video.
low. This one right here, Royal Jamaica Yacht Club.
Yeah, that one's been getting a little windy lately.
Yeah. If it would load. I'll
Not
pause it
too
again.
horribly windy.
This one's out,
Probably
so I
around.
don't really need that.
Yeah.
Anyways, here's what the rain is looking like from the storm right now. Let me remove that so you can see all the outer bands from it. You got a strong band that's been trying to head over towards Cuba, which thankfully should try and curve out away from it. There's no watches and warnings for Cuba, so I mean, I don't really expect much. I don't think that they're going to get much out of it. Alright, so the Eyewall, this newest frame, does look a little bit more symmetrical now. I mean, it's mainly because we're getting closer to the radar that we're able to see more. You can see how thick that northern eyewall is. And there's not really much on the southern side, although there is still hurricane force winds down here. But the Cat 4 winds, if there are any, are going to be on this northern side. And then, of course, Cat 3 winds would be a little bit larger, and Cat 2 winds a lot larger as well. But yeah, I mean, it's looking like that the strongest winds will likely hit the southern tip of Jamaica. And then, hurricane force
Alright.
winds might extend a little bit further inland. Don't know how far yet. Has it been making any wobbles anywhere? Any directional? To me, it looks like it's a
Going
little bit
north,
more
north,
south.
west, north.
Yeah.
Could be moving slower than forecast.
Yeah. Which is not a good
It's given
situation
Yep.
that
for big
uh,
and
for this current information, it's about 18 in west northwest at 18 miles per hour with a pressure of 954 millibar and still winds at 145 miles per hour sustained.
Yeah.
And tropical storm conditions spread across Jamaica with hurricane conditions expected during the next several hours. I have Beryl expected to approach the Cayman Islands tonight into Thursday.
Yep. Alright, so here's a rough idea on what's going on with the winds right now. This is a little bit more south than what it should be here. It's hard to, or it's hard to find a good representation of what's going on with the storm, but here, if I
X
go back
models
to
are being
radar,
looked at.
oops. Alright, let me actually go satellite. There we go. So you can see this part right here. This is pretty clear on where that's flowing towards. Not really giving anywhere the highest storm surge just yet. This would be the area of up to 10 feet of storm surge. Then we got the inner band right here, not really affecting any land just quite yet. Then we got the entirety of the band, which is impacting land. Some areas, I know that area is hard to see. Then we got the tropical storm force winds impacting the northern side of the island. Shouldn't be too high of storm surge values along the northern coast. It's mainly just going to be the southern side should get the worst of it.
Yeah.
The more south it goes, the better case scenario it would be for the islands. Don't really know if it's going to do that. Alright, but yeah, this huge gap right here, I didn't want to say this again, this huge gap is, it's not that there's no precipitation, it's that mountains are making it so we can't see if there's precipitation or not. But based off of all the rain around it, it's pretty clear they're also getting in some light to moderate rain. This yellow color is basically light rainish, light to moderate. Then the oranges are moderate to heavy rainish. So this is a lot worse than what it was like before when it was passing the islands of, or the Grenadines. There's a lot more precipitation with this, and it's a lot larger, so areas are going to get precipitation for longer amounts of time, which isn't good. Yeah, hopefully this core should continue to fall apart. I mean, it's pretty obvious where it's located. Right now, thankfully, we have radar so we can actually detect this. Alright, anything else you want to mention? Oh, shoot. Hold on. Alright, sorry about that. My thing disconnected. Alright, so I see you have a live camera there.
Yep.
As I said earlier, in Portland, Jamaica, there's already strong wind gusts
The
and
children's book market
very
has
heavy rain falling.
Alright, here, let's take a look at the bridge here. Is anything bad happening with it? No, not really.
It's just getting a little windy.
Yep. I don't really expect much to happen with it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Anyways, anything you all want to mention about the storm right now?
Not really.
Alright. I want to talk about the impacts again on what is expected. At least by the National Hurricane Center, what they are forecasting. So, winds, they're expecting hurricane conditions to reach the coast of the warning area within the next few hours. That was a while ago, so it's nearly on the coast at this point. And then hurricane conditions are expected to reach the Cayman Islands tonight or early Thursday. And then hurricane conditions are expected in the Yucatan Peninsula tomorrow night or Friday morning. And then, of course, let me see. Okay. And then the storm surge is expected to be 6 to 9 feet above normal tide levels in the areas of onshore wind along the immediate coast of Jamaica, which that's going to be the southern side, mainly between, don't know if there's a city name here, Dawkins, Penn, and over to Treasure Beach. This area should get the highest storm surge. Then there is storm surge of 2 to 4 feet for the Cayman Islands. It's likely, it's a small island, so they're more vulnerable. Yep.
The
Okay.
National Weather Service and the National Weather Service for Brownsville had issue an latest update for Hurricane Beryl,
Mhm.
that includes most of southern Texas. They're saying they don't know what's going to happen beyond Friday, but they're still, because the Weather Protection Center issued a slight risk for heavy rain. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. Weather Prediction Center. They're going to be covering it. You're right on that. Thanks for reminding me. Yep, there's a slight risk effects there.
Oh, crazy.
Hi, Crazy. There's a slight risk of flash flooding on day 5
Flash flood.
for Brownsville area.
Actually, I'm going to take a quick look and see how much precip is expected to fall in that area.
Mhm.
Combined, actually, a lot might fall.
Yeah,
From
next
both
7 days
systems?
it says 5 inches.
Yeah, they're saying
I
5.
think I'm seeing more.
Mhm.
Let me take a quick look.
Local amounts probably around 10.
GFS is showing 8 to 10 inches, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
From both 96L and Beryl, so. But that's heavily dependent on track of both.
This is I like that the Weather Prediction Center shows us a day 6 and day 7 forecast on what it's expected to do.
Yeah. I think overall 96L looks pretty good. If it continues to look like it does right now, then
Then what?
I think it will have pretty good development prospects.
Where specifically do you think?
Probably near or in the Bay of Campeche.
All right. What about the Caribbean?
If it develops earlier in the Caribbean, then it has very good development prospects in the Bay of Campeche. I think if it develops early, then it actually could be as strong as Beryl gets heading in there. I think compared to like Alberto and Chris, this should be a stronger system if everything goes properly.
All right.
Once for these folks though, I mean, they've already been through what 3-4 systems in that area.
We had Alberto, we had
So-
93L, we had Chris, and then we're gonna have Beryl, and we're gonna have the 5th, which is
Yeah.
96L.
I mean, after this, if there's any silver lining, after this system, there's gonna be a break,
Yeah.
which is much needed for these areas. They've been
Hopefully,
impacted way too much.
Yep. I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh, this year hates Mexico. This hurricane season, just so many things impacting Mexico."
It hits the other side of Mexico is what it does.
Yep.
Because last year did not like the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I would imagine after these couple systems, it should be done.
Yeah. And by the way, there's been
Right
quite
now-
a lot of rainfall for the Grenadines from this tropical wave. Invest 96L.
If there is something to note, it's that the
Mhm.
environment surrounding 96L is nowhere near as moist as it was surrounding Beryl.
All right.
If you go look, so I want to show you something. Go to
Here's
96L and look at water vapor / RGB.
Okay, here.
Go to water vapor and RGB.
Yeah,
Okay.
give me a moment.
And I want you to note what's surrounding the system.
Yeah.
Black.
Yes.
That should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Beryl
So
was not surrounded by black.
Yeah.
It does not look good.
Basically, black means the entire atmosphere's dry.
Yep. I mean, it's been doing kind of well right now. I'm just saying, and it's trying to get up.
But notice how many
rocket.
outflow boundaries and downdrafts and everything those thunderstorms are producing when you look at visible.
Let me go back to visible.
And then I want you to show.
Yeah.
See, they're not healthy thunderstorms.
Yep.
So
And then what are your thoughts on 91E?
91E. My thoughts are maybe a sad 35-mile-an-hour tropical depression, and that's it.
All right.
I
So you
don't
think it's
see.
gonna form?
If it does, it'll only be a TD.
All right.
I'm gonna
How
be
much time
honest
do you
with
think it
Chase.
has to form?
How much time? Maybe a day, 2 days.
well,
I don't know.
All right. What were you saying?
It's actually like the system itself is. The system itself, the East Pack this year is very, very, very sad for tropical development.
Yep.
Not going to do much.
There's a lot of sinking air, right?
Lot of sinking air. Well, not only that, but it's a cold pool relative to the rest of the world right now.
Yeah.
So
Waters and waters near 91E would also be going into cooler waters, hindering development.
Yeah, I
it's
believe so.
there's no space. There's no space for any wave there to actually develop in warm water. And like with the Eastern Pacific, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times earlier in the season, what you're going to get is you're going to get these annulars that track west. But if there's so much sinking air that you can't even get a system anyway, you're not going to get any of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the latest radar frame of Beryl. You see, it's still missing the southern eyewall. Do you think it's just that the radar's not seeing it, or do you think it's actually missing?
It's not there. It's not there.
Okay.
Well, they're reporting a closed eyewall, but it's probably closed at the surface, and then above that it's not.
Yeah.
It's not precipitating anything or mixing down any of the strongest winds, so...
Yeah, there's still likely hurricane force winds, I think, right in here. Just that anything
Barely,
higher,
yeah.
anything higher like Cat 2 or above are all going to be located in this northern side.
Yeah.
Since I can actually show what Recon found in terms of its wind field roughly. Right over here. This is what I'm talking about. I don't think this is flight level. So those Cat 2 winds are likely not connected around the storm. I do think that hurricane winds are going to be connected around the storm, though. A full circle around it.
Yeah.
How much rainfall do you think would fall on the mountains of Jamaica, eastern Jamaica?
Of eastern Jamaica?
Yep.
Probably over a foot,
At least...
foot and a
I'm
half.
actually going to use the hurricane model, so I think it might give a better
Someone
idea.
asked, sorry, real quick, what would be the next name if the tropical cyclone that is in Oaxaca forms Mexico has 40%? What would be the next name on the list of hurricanes?
The next name would probably be Debbie.
Debbie. Yep.
Would be
Debbie. After that, I can't remember what E is.
Yeah, I forgot as well.
Yeah.
Edward, I think? Yeah, Edward.
It's Edward. Okay.
Yep. Then someone says the list
And
of
then
names in the Eastern Pacific area of Oaks. Oh, they're talking about Oaxaca, I think. That basin.
oh,
What would it be next Monday if it would become a depression number
Aletta.
2?
It'd be Aletta. It'd be Aletta.
Yep, it'd be Aletta or Tropical Depression 1E in there.
I don't think. I don't see it becoming Aletta though. I don't know. You might not see Aletta until halfway through the season.
Yeah.
This is not like last year where we have 20 named storms in that basin. There might not be 5 named storms this year.
Yeah.
Actually, there might not be 3 named storms this year in the basin. It's going to be dead.
Yep.
So for people in Mexico wondering, do we have another hurricane season we have to worry about this year? Is it going to be, no. The simple answer to this season is this is a break season for you guys. You do not have to worry about much.
Yeah.
You maybe one hurricane at most might challenge Mexico. One. And
Yep.
that's it. It's a very, very, very inactive season. So enjoy it while you guys can.
Asked how much rain is the accumulate, or how much rain basically is expected on Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
Yep, I'll pull up rainfall accumulation.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think it's going to be too different now from many of just your typical tropical systems. Not like tropical systems as in like hurricanes, but I think it's just going to be like your typical, kind of squally weather.
Okay, I don't know why someone did that. Right.
Maybe spotty rainfall totals of an inch or 2.
Yep, it's showing, yeah, around an inch.
Well, I'm a grandpa this year.
Here was the Euro model showing like 10 inches in parts of southeastern Jamaica. That could easily be over a foot in localized spots. Just like what the National or the Weather Prediction Center is forecasting. Alright. Let me see what else they mentioned. They said that has a 20% chance of tropical development. They're talking about 96L. The one that comes behind it has a 20% that high chance. Greece. I don't know what they're saying exactly, but let's talk about 96L. 96L I don't think will give much rain to the area of Puerto Rico. Actually, never mind. It might give it some rain. About around an inch to 2 inches, so 25 to 50 millimeters possibly. It shouldn't really impact oh god, wait, did my Discord? Okay, no, alright. It shouldn't impact Puerto Rico as a tropical cyclone or anything like that. Just possibly some areas of heavy rainfall. That should be about it. Keep in mind it's going to be tracking, let me pull it up here. It should try and avoid Puerto Rico, thankfully. It's going to head towards Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, and then once again towards the Yucatan Peninsula. And then it could try and form in the Bay of Campeche. Possibly hit Mexico. That's where it's most likely to form. But it doesn't seem like it's going to really impact anywhere along here as a tropical cyclone, thankfully. The National Hurricane Center, this was as of 8 a.m., so 6 hours ago, or 5 hours ago. Shower and thunderstorm activity remains disorganized in association with the tropical wave located a couple hundred miles east of the Windward Islands. Now it looks like it's over the Windward Islands-ish. Development, if any, of the system should be slow to occur while it moves quickly westward to west-northwestward at 20 to 25 miles per hour across the Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, gusty winds and locally heavy rainfall are possible for portions of the Lesser Antilles today. So not really Puerto Rico, not really mentioned at all. Puerto Rico is on the Greater Antilles, am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Alright. So they should be mostly fine out of the system. don't really expect any strong winds out of it.
What?
Don't expect
What were
strong
you saying,
winds.
Chase?
I don't expect strong winds for Puerto Rico out of the tropical wave. Like, it shouldn't become a tropical cyclone.
Yeah, I don't either.
Impacting Puerto Rico is what I'm saying. Yep.
I'm gonna have. I gotta go.
Okay. See you later.
I'll
We haven't gotten a new frame on this system in a little bit. Does anyone have the link to the actual sites for the storm? Can anyone try and find that?
Or the weather
I
radar.
can, I
Yep, the
can do
weather
that.
radar.
Let me try.
And try and see if there is one on Jamaica, a Jamaican radar. It might just be like Guantanamo in Cuba is the radar. Yeah, I don't think it's Jamaica who has that radar. Yeah, my guess
Looks
is
like
it's
Jamaica's radar down.
yeah, my guess is it's somewhere on
What I'm
What do you
Cuba.
looking
think?
at.
Search up like South Cuba radar if you can see him or if you can find it. Here, I'll try and pull it up as well. South Cuba radar.
Here, let's see.
I found one.
You found one?
Yeah.
Alright, let me see. Does it show it or no?
Shows it.
Alright, let's see.
Yeah. Last update was at 250.
Oh my god,
I
thank you
mean
so much.
1250.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's the
Oh.
one. Thank you. Okay, I've been trying to find that link. There we go. Okay, so there's not really much that I can do with this website, I don't think. It just automatically... Yeah, it just automatically runs. I don't think it's down at all. Yeah, it's 10-minute imagery, so it just takes a while for them to get a newer frame out. Yeah, so I figured that Jamaica did not have a radar in this. Just what?
If you go to Jamaica's radar website, it says radar is temporarily out of service.
Let me pull up Jamaica's. You said Jamaica's radar?
Yeah. Well, this is under like
Meteorological Service of
website
Jamaica.
there.
Yeah, okay.
I'll post it.
Yeah, a lot of areas won't have radar available when it gets to, or when a tropical cyclone hits it. Just because of the
very
fact that
unfortunate.
it might damage the radar, so they put it out of service temporarily. I noticed that a lot with Mexico, which is why I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing for the Yucatan Peninsula or not.
Why not?
Yeah. Anyways, there's still a lot of lightning activity with the Eyewall. Interested to see what it looks like on Weather Nerds here. No, actually, it's lost it. You see all that?
Mhm.
It's starting to lose it finally.
Yeah.
Meaning that the core is now finally falling apart. Let me get another loop on it. That is really good news for the island now. This was the most worrying part of it, was it having that much lightning activity. So, hopefully that means that the system is indeed falling apart. Are you kidding me? They don't have... Oh my god, okay. There's no mesosector on the storm anymore. Wait, what? Hold on. Yeah, I don't get why... You see what they did? What exactly is going on over here?
It's tropical tidbits sometimes does that. It's
Well, no, I know. I
stupid.
mean, it's not their fault for doing this. It's just that they moved the mesosector off of the hurricane over. Is there a risk of something going on down there? No, there's. I don't get why they put the mesosector down there. That's pretty weird. Guess we'll have to rely on this then. Alright, looks like that the heavy rain band that's been moving into Cuba has weakened somewhat. Or this one, it can't really be seen on here. Okay, we haven't gotten a radar image in quite some time. Which I have not seen this. Am I still in call? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you are.
Alright, nice. I haven't seen this in a while here, this kind of thing. Showing that maybe the radar's out of service or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only that area that has it. Maybe it's late or something? I don't know. It should be having it.
Yeah, because they're 10-minute updates.
Yep,
Unless they shut that radar down also.
that is a possibility.
But I don't understand why they would.
Oh, I think it did. Hold on, let me see this. Nah, okay, alright. It looks like it's still working. It's 30 minutes behind though. That's the issue right now. I don't know. I don't know what the normal delay is. That's the problem. Anyways, here's like a rough forecast on what it could do within the next hour or so. I know that this is awful. This is an awful forecast kind of thing. But it kind of shows roughly where the center will go. This time, it looks right on where the center will go. Yeah, I think that this is somewhat accurate on the center now. Earlier, it was awful. It would have something that's going north to actually go south. Oh, yeah, and also, I like how they have this mountain range. The mountain range just moves with the storm. But yeah, I don't think that this whole thing is exactly going to happen. Keep in mind, bands are going to wrap around themselves. Alright, what's going on now with the storm? There's still a lot of convection in it, especially the northern side.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of gaining convection.
Yep.
Turning to a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't see any more lightning activity in the Eyewall, which thankfully
which
is
is
not a
good.
good sign for the storm. It's that most likely means it's trying to fall apart. Hopefully that is the case. Let's see what else. Alright. Alright, if the radar is down, then I might try and stop the stream pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's pretty late.
I'll probably wait until the 2 p.m. update.
Alright.
Just on that, because I would like to actually get a summary of what's going on with the storm, what the National Hurricane Center does. They should lower the intensity to 140 miles per hour is my guess. It's barely 130 at this point, I believe. They've
We've
kept it
lost
higher
most of our
for
cameras.
public perception, I believe. What were you gonna say?
We've lost most of our webcams.
Oh, they're down?
The Yacht
Yeah.
Club one is the only one that's actually worked right now.
Alright, what about the Kingston Harbor? Kingston Harbor's still working.
Oh, that one still works.
Wait, why is it showing 11:40? Okay, so this is an hour behind Eastern time. Just want to say that's Atlantic Standard Time. So I don't. It might be
That
down.
it could be.
Normal brain, brain
All of them
FM
look
brain.
like they're an
Normal
hour
brain,
behind.
brain
The only one that's really up to date is the Flatbridge Rio Cobra River
Mm-hmm.
Cam.
Bridge just went out, I think.
Oh, good. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't really have eyes on the place. Let's take a look at pressure now. What it's gone down to on the islands. Wind gusts, stuff like that. Our pressure continues to lower. Rain is continuing to raise.
What's the power outages?
Oh, here, precipitation. There we go. We can see the total precipitation amounts. 1.42 inches, 0.99. 1.45. 2.28. This is the one that you were showing me before, I believe. The one that was elevated. Oh, well, they're at 3 inches so far today of rainfall. And yeah, their peak gust was 66 miles an hour. Wow, okay, yep.
Alright, let's
It's interesting to see that temperature's lower than what it was at like 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
UV index, I don't know why it went so high all of a sudden. 14 is the highest, I think. So it went from 0 to 1 weather observation showing 14. I don't get why that happened. It's like everyone's skin just got burnt. I don't know. Maybe it was like, I don't know. That has to be a glitch in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Our precipitation rate now is around 1 inch per hour on that area. So yeah, that is flash flooding kind of rates of rainfall. Doesn't really surprise me. A lot of these areas should be getting around 1 inch per hour. Anywhere in the yellow. Because it has to, even though it might be light rain, if it's stalling over an area for an hour, that's going to dump like 1 inch in total throughout that hour.
It seems like about 16,000 people in Jamaica are out of power by
Oh
this
wow, okay.
website.
Which website are you
So
using?
it's very, uh, oh, the Jamaica website. Here,
Yeah, so did you have to sign in to look at it?
No, I just went to.
Oh.
I just clicked on it, and that's just a map.
Oh, thank you.
The whole
Ooh,
entire
nice. Thank you so
island.
much. Yep.
If you look, there's 2 big spikes, one with 8K and one other outage with 6K.
On the right hand side, is that it? Or what? Where is it?
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, one with 6.4 thousand people. Yeah, a lot of course these are unplanned power outages. I see one with 2.3K, 8.4K.
And there's some small ones, so I'm saying 16 to 17,000 people are out of power.
Yep. It says crew is on site / available. I don't think they are. Yeah, no upcoming power outages expected, of course.
Half of these are crew on site, and half of these are outage has occurred. So.
Yep, all of these are unplanned.
Alright, no radar update, no nothing.
Still, okay. And so our last update was 12:50. Here,
Yeah,
let me refresh
it's
it.
1:30 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At 1:50.
That's interesting. Okay. Alright, so I guess satellite's going to be our main thing that we use. You can see this whole burst of thunderstorms to the east of the center. I mean, it's looking like, based off the position, it could die out before hitting anywhere. Hopefully. Oh wait, hold on, there's still more. I didn't realize. Yeah, look at the amount of lightning activity in that. Thankfully, if it were to, like, follow the storm, it shouldn't really hit anywhere. It should die out beforehand. But there could always be new burst of convection that's bursts of thunderstorms that will go over in an area. But this one looks like that's not going to happen with it, hopefully. We'll just move away from land. If there was a place that would get hit, it'd probably be Haiti. The western part, southwestern. Alright, let's see if there is any more lightning activity or if it is truly gone.
Wow.
Yeah, there it goes. No more lightning activity. At least in the Eyewall.
Yep.
There you go. That's, I guess, a good thing.
Yeah. I was surprised with the amount of lightning activity there was. Alright, how long until Beryl's? The flight's going into Beryl?
Let me check.
Oh wait, is it still flying in Beryl? Hold on.
Yes. It
Oh,
is, it
there's...
seems like.
Wow, okay, they found the pressure was now up to 960 millibars. That is weakened a lot.
Yeah.
That is good. 960s. That's around a Cat 3 pressure. I would like to see what it was like when it passed through the Eyewall 105
Chase.
knots-ish. Yep, what's up?
What time do you think we're gonna end the stream?
Maybe within 45 minutes-ish. Maybe 40.
Alright.
I think.
Depends on if radar comes back.
Yeah. Someone says, wow, that's great news. Thank you, 30 knots of wind shear. Yeah. This wind shear is now really impacting it, and now that there's not really any lightning in the eyewall, that's showing that the core is weakening, so now that the core is weakening, it should be able to weaken faster due to the wind shear and land interaction. You'd still see with the eye, kind of. Yeah, it's kind of gone a little bit more south of what I was showing here-ish. Yep, so still no radar.
Imagery does not look good.
Oh wait, we just got a new frame, I think.
Do we really?
Really?
Here, hold on.
Just close up.
I just updated.
I'll bet.
Took a while.
Alright.
Here, I'm gonna display this, see if it shows it on here. Yeah, it just loaded 30 minutes of data now. It really took a while. So here, now we can actually see the entirety of the eye. This is a really helpful frame that it just loaded up.
Yep.
You'd see the entire eye of the storm right over here. There's the center of it. Then here's your eye wall. Roughly like this, and then it thins out. And then it finally broadens again. can't see the thunderstorm down here just quite yet, just because it's too far away. Should see it within the next hour or so. I don't know. Yeah. You can see the radar just bug out there because it just had to load up a new entire frame.
Oh shit. That's crazy.
There it goes. So, I mean, now we see that the entire I mean, it does still have an entire eyewall. Earlier it was just us speculating whether or not it had a southern core to it. Now it does look like that is the case. It was just too far away from radar. So yeah, I mean, I remember earlier hearing people say that oh, the southern side doesn't exist right now. Now it looks like it has a full eyewall to it, full intact eyewall. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I agree. Also, that flat bridge camera is back.
All right, does it show anything interesting or no?
Just getting stronger wind gusts.
All right. Waiting on the Zoom Earth frame to load. Still behind. So yeah, I mean, this right now, since it's undergone an eyewall, it went under, it was under the process of an eyewall replacement cycle. It's completed it. It's a lot broader than what it should or what it was before. So that means a lot of areas with heavier rainfall. Definitely a lot larger compared to what it was when it was near the Grenadines and the Lesser Antilles. All right. So now we got 3 new frames to analyze, which is nice. Now that it's
Too
getting
bad
closer.
Cuban radar doesn't have velocity. Said too bad Cuban radar doesn't have velocity.
I know that's our radars, our velocity would be shorter of a ring, so I don't even know if we'd actually be able to see the eye of the storm on it. Tropical cyclones. Ooh, this is a cool graphic. Oh, nice. I like this. Alright, so they actually have full-on data on it, so that's cool. Alright. And so I'm guessing that what this says here is just light, moderate, heavy, severe kind of stuff. You can see that we do have moderate or heavy rainfall up here, and then just mostly throughout the rest of it is moderate rainfall rates. Light to moderate, in my opinion. Tropical cyclones don't typically have complete downpours with them. Alright, 22 minutes until the National Hurricane Center updates. I don't think they're going to do hourly updates on it just because it's likely not going to hit land. It's just going to go to the south of it. That's at least my opinion on it.
Hey Chase.
Yep, what's up?
I just want to say that one Peters Rock weather station, the precipitation rate has really increased. It's already at 3.3 inches of rain.
Well, okay, here, I'm going to refresh it. Is this it, or Peters
Right,
Rock?
let me see. Yeah.
I see 3.35 inches on there. Refresh it. And for me, I see 3.02, but yeah, I believe it. 3.35. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, the rain rates was at 1.25 inches per hour at one point, so this is the heaviest rainfall they've gotten so far. Just continuing to rise and rise in terms of the precipitation totals. That's around 75 millimeters of rain 3 inches. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They're on like a mountain, so I think they're roughly in this area. Somewhere in this area.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me that makes sense. They're now finally getting the one of the inner bands of it. This newer radar frame actually just shows that the storm's a lot more organized, actually. Have a lot less spots of green in it. Alright, did anything else updates? Not there. When is the recon going to be flying into the storm? Is I thought that they said that a new recon plane was going to be going into it. Am I wrong on that, or what's going on with it?
No,
I remembered seeing that it said like 48 minutes until the next mission starts. And it seems like they're already going to be leaving the storm right now, so I don't think they're going to be doing another mission in a bit. Not a lot being shown here. Okay. So yeah, at least we do have radar still going on. Okay, we can see newer frames. We can actually see the entirety of the eyewall of the storm, which is helpful. It looks pretty solid on radar. Wasn't expecting that. I mean, well, actually, to be honest, the for Category 4, that is pretty typical of it. I'd really only expect a core to look like this if it was like a Cat 1-ish. Just because for a Cat 4, it should have a complete eyewall to it. Yeah, this hasn't updated recently, but we do have radar on here at least.
Well, hi.
Hello.
I was eating. I actually completely forgot, and I might have to start sending
No
one
worries.
for lunch.
Alright, it's all good.
Yeah.
So
So
18 minutes until the next
Bye.
intermediate advisory. They should
Alrighty.
drop the intensity down. Bless you.
Excuse me, my bad.
Alright. Alright. This shows its rough position right now. Here, take a look at this right now. I don't know if that's the exact position of it. I don't think it's even there. Hold on. Yeah, never mind. That is likely it. What's up?
You want to know something that's very impressive is that that Royal Yacht Club and
Yeah.
right at where is it? Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's
Yep.
almost basically calm there.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Now I'm gonna go get some water. So hold up.
Anyways, I was
However,
gonna
at that
show
one,
something. Yeah, here's where it's looking like right now. There's likely hurricane force winds ongoing on the island. There should be. This is what Recon's showing, so yeah, so they're really expecting tropical storm force winds to be going on throughout the entire island at this point. And then the hurricane force winds are likely just confined in this region right here.
Looks like Hurricane Center put advisory 28 out.
20A.
Yeah.
Alright, let me take a look.
It gets down to 140. Yeah, it's down to 140 at 959 millibar at going at per hours.
Yep, I see it. Alright, I'm gonna get a satellite imagery, just download it real quick.
Oh crap! I just got the stream on my phone.
Yes.
Alright,
Alright, so yeah, they have released their new thing. They said that's Hurricane Beryl Advisory 28. Hurricane conditions about to spread into Jamaica as the Eye of Beryl approaches. Eye of Beryl expected to approach the Cayman Islands into tonight into Thursday. There it is, okay. Yep, down to 140 miles an hour. Expected that. Time to read the public advisory on it. 959 millibars, okay. No new watches and warnings. Here's the update, okay? At 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the center of Hurricane Beryl was located near 17.3 degrees north, 76.9 degrees west. Beryl is moving toward the west-northwest near 18 miles per hour. And this general motion should continue through today, followed by a turn more toward the west tonight and or Thursday. On the forecast track, the center of Beryl will pass near or over Jamaica during the next several hours. After that, the center is expected to pass near or over the Cayman Islands tonight or early Thursday, and move over the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico Thursday night or early Friday. Maximum sustained winds are near 140 miles per hour with higher gust. Beryl is a Category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. Some weakening is forecast during the next day or two. However, Beryl is forecast to be at or near major hurricane intensity while it passes near Jamaica during the next several hours, and the Cayman Islands tonight or early Thursday. Additional weakening is expected thereafter, though Beryl is forecast to remain a hurricane in the northwestern Caribbean. Hurricane force winds extend outward 45 miles from the center. Let me pull up the image that I had up. Where'd it go? Here it is, 45 miles. If that would be the case, that means it would be over land at that point. And then the latest minimum central pressure estimated from Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft data is 959 millibars. Let's see if anything is updated. 6 to 9 feet of storm surge still for Jamaica, 2 to 4 feet for the Cayman Islands, 1 to 3 feet for Hispaniola, and 3 to 5 feet for the Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, looks all good there. So yeah, it's weakening. That's good. Let me make a zoomed up view. Yeah, it looks like hurricane force winds could be occurring on the island at this point. Let me pull up this thingamabob. Yeah, looks like hurricane force winds could be occurring on parts of the island. Tropical storm force winds are occurring throughout the entirety of the island. Damaging winds are occurring on the eastern.
I have one for Kingston. It says for the rain, storms likely during the next several hours, major hurricane conditions likely.
Yep.
I have it on Kingston, Jamaica.
Nice. Alright, so yeah, hurricane force winds are just to the south of Kingston. Maybe occurring in some land areas. I don't think over lands, but near land. You can see how lopsided the storm is. Here's its center, and then you can see how it's a lot broader on the northeastern side. So yeah, it's close to Cuba as well, which isn't good. Wasn't really expected to be that far northward. Thankfully, it looks like it's no longer occurring on Haiti, so they should expire their tropical storm warning within the next 3 hours, is my guess. Yep, so now with the newest position update, Jamaica is no longer in the cone, which means it should not make a landfall. Alright, so so they should be mostly fine at this point. Hopefully. You can clearly see the eyewall in this image. The eye of it. It's gonna go just to the south of it.
Okay.
Oh, there may be more lightning in the storm now.
It's not.
Pull it up. Just like 1 or 2 lightning strikes. Not a lot. Infrared.
Chase.
Yep, what's up?
If you looked at that satellite imagery, it looked like the hurricane was kind of heading like straight north, like right for the island.
I don't think so. It's been going more south than what was forecasted now.
I don't know, it might just be me, but whenever you were playing that satellite imagery, it looked
Visible
like
imagery?
yeah. It looked like it was kind of going like perfect, kind of a little bit up north, just a little bit.
The position is roughly right in here somewhere. And its earlier position was kind of... Well, no, it looks like it's over here-ish.
Yeah.
Kind of like this-ish. And then it should start turning more west.
Okay.
So hopefully a landfall doesn't occur. I don't like this imagery. I'm gonna see if there's anything new on that radar. Yeah, I mean, now we're starting to see more of the eyewall, which is helpful. It's getting closer to the radar. It's still gonna look a lot weaker than what it actually is. And personally, I feel like it's around 115 knots at this point. Around 130 miles an hour, barely a Cat 4.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, the pressure's like 950 millibars at this point. Or no, 960-ish. Which that's like Cat 3, low end Cat 3 kind of pressure, so... I know it's had a higher pressure its whole life, but... Yeah, I mean, it's been weakening. It's been weakening faster than what the National Hurricane Center is saying, I believe. It's been showing more lightning activity in the southeastern side, which is interesting. That shouldn't really happen. Oh, I see it right here. New convective burst, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, ish. Would be really helpful if we had a mesosector imagery. Okay, Mission 15's now flying out into it.
Perfect.
Oh, there we go. Now they updated the mesosector imagery. So now from going back to Florida, they finally swapped it.
Oh gosh.
They just took off the same size.
So wait, where are they
I
flying
have
from?
everything for I was
Here,
gonna say
I'm gonna pull up a
I have
picture.
to I have to Alec. Another thought.
I'm trying to find it on the most tracked flights in the world. So what island are they flying from?
Here.
Oh, I found it. St. Croix. Or St. Croix. That looks like a small, plainish. I think that's it. And I'm not showing it on here, but they'd be flying from. I think this is it. I don't know.
Ooh, double cover.
Yeah, this is it. I believe they're flying from over here. Keep in mind they're not really close to the storm at all. They don't really have a place that they can fly. Remember, they flew a plane in all the way from Louisiana to get to the storm. It's pretty far from the airports.
Huh?
So right now it's just south of Puerto Rico. It's going to take a little bit of time to reach the storm. Guessing within the next hour they should be in it. Alright, still radar has not updated on Zoom Earth. That's just because they're behind. I do like how quickly the Cuba one updates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that there may have been a convective burst to the south of the center. Yeah, you see it right there?
Yeah, you can see it on radar also.
Uh,
Just a little bit.
yep, that's probably why the Eyewall got intact on radar. Yeah, so you can kind of tell where the eye is in the stormish. Somewhere in between this whole mess. And that doesn't really show it. Alright. Let's see how much lightning's occurring in it now. Yeah, not a lot still. Only like 2 bolts occurred. That's really good on how little it is. Alright, someone asked another question.
See it in Spanish.
Yep. I'm gonna use Google Translate in a moment. I want a lot of rain for Puerto Rico for the entire island tomorrow, but everyone says that it can rain heavily for intense rains for the area. Puerto Rico bands of intense rains. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of bands or anything. It's really just a weak tropical wave. Well, not really weak, but the tropical wave should stay south of Puerto Rico, maybe deliver some rainfall. Oh my god, you could see the outflow of this storm right here. Being blown very far away from the center. That's nice. But yeah, now it's speeding in front of its outflow, so now it should be less efficient, which means it should be able to weaken soon.
Alright. I'm thinking of heading out for now.
Alright, sure.
Alright, peace.
Yep, talk to you later. Bye. Alright, so you'd see the strong thunderstorm. We got overshooting tops out of it right now. That would be interesting to see on radar. Thankfully, it looks like it will dodge land. That's likely the heaviest rainfall out of the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see how far away the Eyewall is from the storm. About 15 miles. So it should be close within the next hour. Less than an hour. So before 2 o'clock it should be nearing it. And then it's like 40 miles away from the area that will actually 40 to 50 miles away from the closest pass.
Chase.
Yep.
What time are you gonna end it? Cause I
don't know.
I saw what Shuka like sent in the chat. Wait, when I was saying I was English.
I don't know. Maybe soon. Maybe within like the next 30 minutes. I don't know.
Alright.
Alright, someone asked something else. What time does the rain position model say that the tropical wave will arrive in Puerto Rico? Let's take a look at that. Alright, so there's the tropical wave today at 2 p.m. That's 8 p.m., 2 a.m., 8 a.m. Yep, so what he was saying about it possibly being tomorrow at 8 a.m., that seems about right. Continuing into 2 p.m., 8 p.m., and then 2 a.m. Still lots of rain for Puerto Rico, and then it should be gone by Friday-ish. Alright, so let's see what else they said in chat.
Chase.
Yep.
The Royal Yacht Club is starting to get windy there now.
Finally? Let's take a look at it.
Finally. A little bit.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Makes sense, they're getting closer to the Eyewall. Yeah. You can see trees moving around a little bit. This isn't as bad as Barbados, that area. What they were getting, surprisingly.
Wait, how bad were they getting it?
Pretty bad. There were trees blowing everywhere. A lot. Pretty fast. This doesn't look that bad. They're over here-ish. So they're quite a bit of ways away from the Eyewall. The outer edge of the Eyewall, at least. Alright, so where has the storm been moving?
Probably probably when this ends, I'm probably gonna go check out the double flight risk.
Yep.
Right, in the bed.
So you can see this is the rough kind of position the storm has been moving. It's trying to curve more to the west. It should try and move this way. It's still, if I were to draw a point on it, draw the wind field around it, and then moved it around, you'll see it doesn't take much. If it was like a couple miles more north, then it'd get hurricane force winds. If it stays on its current trajectory-ish, maybe just briefly touching the coast, and then if it went a little bit south, it'd probably miss it. South would be the best bet for it. If it just keeps curving a little bit more, or curving quicker to the west, I mean. There we go. Now the radar image has loaded on Zoom Earth. It looks like it's been moving a little bit slower than forecasted. Let me see where the plane is now. Okay. Oh, all right. So the plane is roughly this area right now. It's approximately 600 miles away from the storm. So yeah, it should be there within the next... Let me see how fast it's moving, actually. It's moving at 529 miles per hour, so it should be there within the next hour and 15 minutes-ish. It's going to probably enter the northeastern quadrant first, is my guess.
Hey, Chase.
Yep.
That lightning coverage on the south eastern side just really increased.
Alright, let me pull it up.
just gonna look at the
Oh,
newest
whoa, yep,
mesoscale
you were right on
discussion
that.
for
Okay.
the players.
Alright. Well, yeah, I see that there's a lot more lightning activity. You're right on that. Thanks for telling me. Yeah, you can see it's mainly because of this right here, this convective burst of thunderstorms wrapping around the storm.
Oh, we might have to, after this, I might end up doing this. I might end up DMing you the mesoscale.
Alright. Alright, so,
Alright, hold on. Alright. I know what I'm doing for a minute. I'm gonna plug it right on my Xbox real quick. Not Spotify. I do not want to.
yep. But yeah, those are some pretty cold cloud tops that are blowing around at the, yeah, you can see all the lightning. That's probably what prepared the eyewall, is my guess.
Headsets off, TV's going up. And
Let's
it's
see if my...
controller. My bad, I'm talking to myself. I might have to mute.
So definitely a new convective burst on the southern side of the storm. Now it's time to see if it can actually fully wrap it around. So those are some pretty cold cloud tops. They're minus 80s in some areas. That's pretty surprising to see.
According to Windy, some of the cloud tops are negative 115.
What are you doing, Fahrenheit or what?
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
I use Celsius. I see minus 87, minus 86. This is a very strong thunderstorm right now.
Oh, try to go on the weather discussion real quick and stuff.
Right, radar shows the centers right here.
Oh,
Time to
did
compare
you see
that to satellite.
They should do two of you.
What, mesoscale discussion? Guessing about the
No, I got IM put up tropical weather discussion. This is from 202 Eastern time on my end.
What is it? I'm confused.
I think hold on, let me just take a picture of it real quick. I'm gonna make sure. I'll throw it in the chat.
Okay. Alright, and we also have an updated forecast on the area of interest, or Invest 96L, which is a tropical wave. A tropical wave located near the Windward Islands continues to produce an area of disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. Development, if any, of the system will be slow to occur while it moves quickly westward to west-northwestward at 20 to 25 miles per hour across the Caribbean Sea during the next few days. Regardless of development, gusty winds and locally heavy rainfall are possible across portions of the Lesser Antilles throughout this evening. So they're not really mentioning the Greater Antilles. Alright, okay, nice. Yep, figured. Can you send me that? The link to that tropical weather discussion?
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Or if I can have my camera on, if that would help.
I mean, I'm guessing they're all only mentioning the area of interest. Yeah, that's probably it.
No special.
Let me see what that is. Okay, nice. Yep, Category 4 Hurricane Beryl. This is a little bit old on terms of the pressure and wind speed. Okay, nice. I see it. Tropical waves. I like how they just copy and paste the Hurricane Beryl is located, Hurricane Beryl is located, all that kind of stuff. Alright.
I don't need to hear some stupid area forecastation from the stupid areas, especially my location.
Now, what's the rainfall looking at right now? I'm guessing it's going to be closer to 4 inches.
It's 3.89.
Oh, wow. Okay, yep.
The rain, yeah, the rainfall rate is 1.21 inches per hour.
Yeah.
One for Cleveland, one for freaking Denver.
By the way, Chase, yeah, you can see the current precipitation right there.
Yeah. 1.21 inches per hour. 3.9 inches of rain. We got other areas of 2.24-ish, yeah. 1.59 inches. Is there nothing really on the mountains? I guess not. All it is just a road, so I guess there's not going to be any weather stations there. So, yeah, okay, so it's just located just north of Kingston. Basically, right in here-ish. Yep. Alright, so I'm probably going to end in 15 minutes. That way it's a 3-hour long stream. Alright, there's more stuff that the person from Puerto Rico is saying. We are waiting for rain in Puerto Rico from that cloud that is seen on the Virgin Islands that is going to reach Puerto Rico with a lot of rain. The most active part of the rain is going to be reaching Puerto Rico. I want the rain to come to Puerto Rico in the area of Puerto Rico, but in the northern area of Puerto Rico, we need one heavy rainfall event for a lifetime. A lot of rain because we need our... So I'm guessing that they're in a little bit of a drought, maybe? Ish, I don't know. Here, U.S. drought monitor. I think it shows it for Puerto Rico. I don't know. Nope, doesn't seem like they're in a drought at all. Alright. Alright, let's see. Oops, okay. Yeah, I mean, solid eyewall for the storm now. This looks about right for a Category 4. Have this full eyewall structure now in it. It's wrapping around more on the southern side at least. From that new convective burst. It's looking like it's getting stuck. It's not really making it so far to the east side of it. I don't know though. That northern side of the convective burst is about to reach the islands. Alright. Let's take a look at the newest radar frames. Alright, that's not updated. I'll refresh it. There we go. Alright, so now it's looking like the southwestern side doesn't really have it anymore. As of the latest 2 new frames not really being shown. It fractures right here. Yep. Right there-ish. I mean, the rest of the eyewall is pretty good.
Excuse me.
Right. I mean, it's getting closer and closer to land. Yep, here's the frame. You see that little fracture that just loaded? Looking a little bit less solid. Yeah, I mean, the islands are very close to the eyewall. Let me take a look at the cameras. You can see the cloud speed moving.
Yeah, very.
A little bit quick. You can tell it's from a tropical cyclone, just not in the middle of a hurricane there. You can see the flag of Jamaica there blowing in the wind. I think that's what, yeah. And you can see the trees swaying. Not too strong. They're supposed to be in the damaging winds right now. Which is really good that we're not seeing a lot of damage, thankfully.
Power.
Yep. You can see the burst trader down here now. Oh, a little bit slow. There it goes, wrapping around. There's why there's so much lightning activity with it now. It's just, it's not really going to do so well. That's the problem. We're almost able to see this next thunderstorm right here. So like I was saying, that's likely the strongest of the bunch. And also now the plane is roughly down here-ish, the Reconnaissance. So they are approximately 500 miles away from the storm now. And they are flying at about 492 miles per hour, so yeah. Okay, that's weird. Okay. Oh, wow, alright. I'm looking at flight radar on my phone right now, just trying to see if it's being tracked. I just see an Air Force plane flying somewhere.
I love the IM sound. The IM sound is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alright, yes, I do need ammo low, because I'm almost done.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's see. Alright. So yeah, the plane's roughly over here. I could probably show it. Yep, mission 15. Yeah, that's a little bit late. Alright, I'd like to pull up where the system's going to be going. Actually, here, I want to see lightning activity first. Oh, wow, yeah. You were right,
Yeah.
Weather Cool Kid. The amount of lightning that's on the southern side is quite a lot. Mainly means that now the southern side of it's trying to do well. I don't know how long that's going to last, though. Alright. Okay, so I want to pull up where it's likely going to go later on. Or did this update? No, okay. Because there's a lot of possibilities on what this could do later. Of course, it's going to try and head towards the Yucatan Peninsula. First, it's going to pass Jamaica, then the Cayman Islands, and then finally it's going to reach the Yucatan, and then eventually the mainland Mexico, or the United States.
Ow.
I'd be interested to see where it goes afterwards. This right here is going to be roughly the 5-day forecast of it. It's expected to be overland within the next 5 days, and then the next day should be like a remnant low over Texas, and then still just be an area of low pressure south or in southern Texas. It's going to try and weaken quickly, thankfully. There is, of course, the slight risk of excessive rainfall down there. I can actually pull up exactly where it is. So there could be the threat of tornadoes down in this exact same area. Mainly Brownsville, Reynosa, Camargo.
Wait. I was gonna say which one I can for the risk. And I don't know how it's pronounced.
No, it's slight risk for excessive rainfall.
No, but it's also the way you mentioned the risk of tornadoes, and then I can just have that pulled up for whenever
Oh yeah.
that's
In the
happening.
next 5 days or so, there could be a risk of tornadoes, tropical tornadoes for Beryl, and this same rough area or
With the
hurricane area.
corp corpus freaking I don't know how I don't
Corpus
know
Christi.
what it is. I don't know what it's called. Oh yeah.
Corpus Christi, yeah, possibly. It all depends on where it goes. The northern side will get the worst of it. So, looking at the forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center, if it goes down towards Tampico, right down here, then it'd be Tampico would get the worst of it, and north of that
Hold
would
on,
get all
I
the
got a
tropical
whole thing. I
tornadoes.
don't know what to decide. Yeah.
If it hits where the center of the cone shows, then it'd be the Brownsville area and a little bit more north of that. Then if it hits all the way up towards the northern side, then it'd be the Houston area, Beaumont, that kind of area. So there's a wide area of possibilities that could get impacts from this storm. Really, if this is the cone of uncertainty, then it's like the tornado threats is in this region. But it's going to be to the north of wherever the storm goes.
I'll probably be. I'll probably be on the lookout for that.
So I'm probably going to end within the next 5 minutes. So what I wanted to point out is that Jamaica should hopefully be spared out of this system. Hopefully the storm just goes just to the south of it. Looking more and more likely that it's going to do that. So it seems like it's not going to be a landfall, but it's going to be very close. Yep.
Oh, I can tell why, but not really.
Yep. And then our next stream is likely going to be, the next area that's going to get impacted is going to be the Cayman Islands, but it's looking like it's not going to be a landfall, thankfully. So, doesn't seem like we'll do a stream tomorrow, at least Thursday. The problem is we're going to likely do one early Friday morning. That might be, again, another 6 a.m. stream, potentially 7 a.m., I don't know. It's going to be their sunrise time. Yep, because it is looking pretty obvious that it's going to make a hurricane landfall somewhere in the Yucatan Peninsula, between the Belize-Yucatan border and Cozumel, that area. So we'll likely do a stream at that point, because it's pretty certain it's going to be Cat 1 or Cat 2 at that point. And then our probably final stream, hopefully, on it, will be if it hits Mexico as a Cat 1, or if it hits the United States as a tropical storm. So likely going to get a stream.
AKA Southern Texas.
Yep. It could go anywhere in this cone, really. It could go all the way up to Port Lavaca, and then all the way down to just south of Tampico. So there's a huge range of possibilities on what the storm can do. It's looking likely it's going to be a hurricane by the time it hits land. There. So, it's just a reminder, because I got like 2 minutes. A hurricane warning's in effect for Jamaica. Hurricane warning's in effect for both of the Cayman Islands. Hurricane warning from Cancun all the way down to the, I wish they stated where this would end, but, because they do things differently than us. Just along the coast, then a hurricane watch.
I know weird.
But this right here is going to likely stay, I don't think they're going to ever issue a hurricane warning for this area. Should just be a tropical storm warning, because the system should be a tropical storm at this point. And then eventually hurricane watches or tropical storm watches will be issued along the Texas-Mexico coastline.
And then also the I was gonna say about the tropical weather statement, whatever it's called,
Alright.
before the watches and warnings. Where
Yeah,
they
yeah.
like
Hurricane local
play it.
statements, I think it's called.
I don't remember. I think it's
Yeah,
one of
hurricane
those.
local statement.
Yep.
Uh,
So yeah, we could be seeing another amounts of tropical storm warnings and effects for southern Texas, maybe even a hurricane warning if it gets to that point. Of course, we'll be doing streams if that is the case. Like I said before, hurricane warning for Mexico, or hurricane landfall for Mexico, or tropical storm landfall for Texas. We'll be doing a live stream. All right, thanks for watching, and stay safe. We'll see you in the next stream.
Bye, everybody.
Yep, Friday morning. All right, bye.
up there.
And,